Welcome back. And today's episode of the Ravens Roundup, we got our normal cast of characters. And because of what happened yesterday, we're going to dive right into it. I'm going to bring my LBHT brothers in first, Jose and B.
What's up, Coach?
What up?
Thank you for having us.
How y'all doing down this Monday and night, rather? Monday night is, I would say victory morning. I almost said that, but it's almost like a boxing match Monday. So much going on in Ravens flock.
Listen, man, it is cold over here on the East Coast. It's even colder after a loss. All right, I'm not feeling good at all.
Checking my watches. It was a high of 81 today down here.
Oh,
Next up, the rebel himself. Hendo.
Hey, let's talk about some Oway.
Right. No way. And last but not, well, I ain't gonna say last but not least, because you know we always got one on CPT. He is not on CPT. He on time. OTR Mike. What up, Mike?
Yo, look, this is the best idea because when we get to the Super Bowl in a couple months, we can come back and look at these streams that were we upset and be like, man, see, all of that was for a reason. Like MP almost slapped the coach for a reason.
Right.
Let's get it.
And I'm glad you said MP almost slapped the coach for a reason, because there's a certain type of vibe that I plan on giving off today.
Okay. The disappearing vibe?
Right.
Those are good ones.
But listen. We know. Oh, there you go. I was about to give you the alley-oop there. I know you had issues with the play call down the stretch, and you believe that might have contributed to MP's outburst there. And I agree. That probably is, in part what caused it.
Mm-hmm. Now, I don't know. Honestly, I don't know what's going on. But let's just go ahead and get started. And I'll be visually on in a minute. I'll fix this while we do this. So we're gonna start with QB play, like we always do. Let me get this ticker off. And Hendo, you can start with whatever. We got one more that hadn't came yet. That's Chris. Chris will be here eventually, I think. And when he comes, we'll just pop in and keep it going like he was already here from the start. All right. So go ahead, Hendo. Start with QB play.
QB play. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to say Lamar was pretty average. I mean, he made some plays in and out of the pocket, but he just didn't have the time from that offensive line. He threw low on one interception. The fourth down interception, I don't really blame him for. He was just trying to make a play on it, but he didn't have a good day. It just wasn't a good day for the team all the way around.
All right, Jose.
Yeah, it wasn't great. I don't think it's as bad as the numbers show. Those two interceptions, the one tip pass, even that the interception in the corner. I mean, we'll talk about that more, I guess. What he could have done differently. It was just a tough situation, and you're playing. Here we go. But there are a lot of things that could have made the day look better stat-wise. I don't think he had a bad day by any means, but he could have done a lot more. But, again, that's one of the problems I have with this team is that if he doesn't play perfect, we don't win. Right. Hey, what's up, Chris?
What up, Chris?
What's going on, fellas? What up, fellas? Damn.
I told you he'll be here. Hey, this is the type of time I'm on. We got a certain thing that's going to come through. I did my research today. And I'm getting it back in blood today, buddy.
Okay.
Let me see. Where was I? Let's go. B.
It was his worst game of the season. He like Hendo said, he made a couple plays here and there, but he was off. He missed Mark Andrews, as our guy Garnett likes to point out. Missed Mark Andrews in the end zone. Obviously, he did not. He didn't make the play on that fourth down. Right. There were plays to be made, and he didn't make them. And ended up, throwing that interception while he was running away, essentially. So bad play, but I thought it was a pretty mediocre day all around for Lamar. Could have been better, but. There was some weather, there was some injury, there were some drops and things like that, but he didn't play well.
All right. I know I missed Chris. I missed one more when I got the camera. Did I get you, Hendo? You started, right?
Yes, sir.
So Jose is on you then, right?
No, sir. It's on Mike.
Mike and Chris. Okay, go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, I mean, for Lamar, it was was bad, right? But if you compare him to some of the other quarterbacks, it's just what comes along with the expectations for him. I mean, the interceptions I don't put on him at all, either one of them, right? I don't think they were. I don't think they were bad. So much of bad throws, right? One was batted down, even though the pass was a little low. The other one, he had to throw something up. It was fourth down, right?
No, sir. He didn't.
Well, what he was going to do? Take the sack?
Listen, throw it away. They'd have been stuck at the 3-yard line instead of.
I mean,
20.
I got you on that, but you trying to make.
But I mean, he's trying.
You don't throw a ball away on fourth down.
Yeah.
I mean, if you had a receiver taller than 6'1", throwing
no coach.
He trying to make a play now. He admitted himself, right? Like I missed Duvernay. If I'd have seen him a split second earlier, it'd have been a touchdown. But he contributed that to the pass rush. He got bull rush, tall pass rushers, hands up, couldn't really see him to the last minute. You can kind of put those things on the quarterback because that's who it's going to lie on. But to me, he played okay, right? We expect greatness every week out of him. So a week like this, we're going to look down on. But he was okay, in my opinion.
All right, before you go, Chris, Easy says hit 89. I'm just going to ask the question, and I'm pretty sure the consensus will answer the same. On that last play, how many people were on Mark Andrews?
It had to be 2 or 3.
All of them.
More than 2 or 3.
It was 3.
It was 4.
Whoa.
It was 4. They had him boxed in. It's going to likely go straight to the flats. He may or may not be open, but I don't really trust likely right now. And that's how Duvernay got open because everybody's compacted on Mark. But go ahead, Chris.
Well, yeah. Sorry.
Go ahead, man.
Oh no, I was just gonna say that's kind of the problem with the Ravens offense, right? Like they had options there, but you don't trust anybody outside of Mark really, and right. So you're not going there. But I'm sorry, Chris. Go ahead.
No, you're good, man. Yeah, I was a little disappointed with Lamar's game, but also I was disappointed by the receivers too because he was. I mean, in order for him to get on a roll, you got to actually catch the ball, and there were quite a few drops. There were some great catches, but there were some drops too. I understand it was raining and everything, but it's raining on the Bills side too. So
keep that thought in mind. Go ahead.
Thanks.
So yeah, I feel like his receivers, mainly Bateman, didn't really come up as big as you would expect him to in a spot like that. But overall with Lamar, like the command, I don't know if it was the rain, but he didn't look like himself yesterday. Like when you compare the Jets game in the second half that we talked about, and we all talked about how he just looked like once the second half came, like he had total command of the offense, and it's like that was completely gone this game. And the thing that was actually working was the run game, and I mentioned it earlier where he missed Andrews early on for the TD, and that's not Lamar. Lamar doesn't miss those. Lamar will hit Andrews in the end zone usually. So I don't know if it was just a rain, but man, and then that fourth down play, and it actually before the fourth down play, on the third down play, where he scrambles, Likely is wide open. If he just flips the ball to Likely, that's an easy touchdown. And it's kind of like we expect him to do it because it's like we're so used to him like doing this miraculous stuff, and it was kind of shocking that he didn't, and they ended up tackling him at like the 3-yard line or something like that. But yeah, it was disappointing overall. But hopefully he could bounce back from this, and hopefully it's not raining next game.
Listen, I think to Mike's point, I think it was last week on that third down play, he looked up and saw 80 and thought Miles Boykins and was like, "I'm not throwing it over. I'm not throwing it. I'm not going that way."
My 2 cents on Lamar before I get to the super chat. There were some drives where he looked in total command. Like the game was slowing down to him. Like he was playing cautious enough, but not so cautious that the weather was bothering him. There were some drives in that game that he looked like, man, this dude's really coming into his own. And he made a few what I think mental mistakes. I don't think he cost us the game, but I may think he made a few mental mistakes where he should have been like, oh shit, I missed that. Just some lapse in judgment that you would like him to make. And I'm not saying I'm not bashing him. I just think there were a few mental lapses because that throw is just a mental lapse. Stay in the pocket, throw it out there. And my thing is because I talked to going there earlier. We talked about the play y'all was talking about earlier. On that type of play, the read is the outside corner. If the outside corner goes with one of those in-breaking routes, you just throw it to the back pylon. You don't have to see him. As soon as that corner takes off toward any in-breaking route, you basically trying to throw it and trying to hit the back pylon. It's up to the receiver to get his butt there. And the receiver was there. He just didn't trust to throw it over there.
He actually hit Likely on that play. I think it was in the Jets game. He hit Likely on the same concept.
Mm-hmm.
And he had that anticipation because Likely wasn't even out of his break. And Lamar was already throwing the ball. Same spot, same everything. I think it was like towards midfield. And he hit Likely. And it was like the same kind of pass concept. And
I mean, that's a from high school up to NFL, that's a staple when you get inside the goal line, inside the red zone. Because when you get into the red zone, a lot of people go man. And if you got a guy that can run a corner, and that's money. That's money. But it is what it is. I digress.
Mark, that's a good insight, Coach. I'm glad you brought that up.
You can get it, Mark. Thank you for the Mark OG. Thanks for the team. He said Lamar's playing like a one-man team. Other players getting paid too. If the Ravens want him to be a one-man team, they should pay him like so. Why pay Tuck when you don't use him? We prioritize D, but don't trust it. All facts. And I thought I'd never say this, but Pat Ricard is balling too. Never thought I'd ever say that. Pat Ricard is balling for what he's doing. He running crossing routes better than the receivers. He running in between the tackles better than the other running backs. So, hey, 42, I'm going to shut up for the time being.
And they missed a play on him. They missed a call on him where the defensive lineman literally wrapped his hands around his legs, picked him up, and just put him to the ground like a wrestler. You can't do that in football. And it was blatant. Like, I saw it live. So I'm like, the ump got to see that.
They miss so much stuff. I got another super chat too. Hold on, before we go on to the running backs. Oh, let me find it. It was two. There we go. Michael says, "Dude got to help his QB out and come back to the ball." He do, but dude can only do so much at 5'3", 170 pounds.
How tall is
I think
he's 5'10".
Dude is 5'10", and Foye about the same height. Foye might be 5'11", 6 feet, but they close to the same height. Anybody else want to elaborate on QBs before we go to running backs? All right, there it is. Running backs, or lack thereof. Chris, go ahead. Start us off.
It was looking good. JK came out in the first half, and he was looking, like the old JK. And the O-line was actually blocking, opened up some creases for him. And it was actually exciting to see because this is the run game that we've been waiting for. And then, Justice Hill came in the game, and he kind of gave them a shot in the arm that they needed and brought some juice from the backfield. But then he pulls up with a hammy. Mm-hmm. And then after that, it was just the run game was just dead after that. They couldn't do anything on the ground.
Then Justice Hill got, 8-9 yards on one leg.
Hopping.
Hopping.
Yeah.
Hendo, take your running backs from there.
I mean, Chris pretty much said it all. JK was the old JK. I was really upset that I traded him a couple of days prior. Really, really upset. I got duped. But anyway, yeah. Listen, I'm still on the Justice Hill apology tour. I owe that man an apology. I've been wanting that dude gone since day one, but he's actually showing me a lot. Like, he has heart. That the way he kept running on one leg, I was like, this dude really wants this job.
Yep.
He really wants to get these yards. He wants to win this game. And I don't think we got too many guys on the team right now that really play like they want to win the game. They just there to get a check. But overall, run game first half. Run game first half, outstanding. Second half, Giro reverted back into Giro. The one problem that I've always had with Harbaugh and his staff is they don't know how to make adjustments. And I think that they forget that other teams' offensive and defensive coordinators get paid money too. They get paid money to analyze, dissect, and redirect their teams. But hey, oh no.
All right. He asked where is Prochet. I don't know. I have no idea.
I know. I saw him on the sideline. He was standing next to he was standing next to Bateman when Bateman had the jacket on.
But he was dressed this time. That's advancement. That's progress. He got dressed this time. Mike, running backs.
First half looked solid. Second half, I feel like we actually got away from it. I mean, and we definitely got away from it once Justice went down. I seen there was a Mike Davis sighting. He looked completely lost out there. The 1 or 2 plays I seen, but it's just, I mean, it's like there's zero trust there. I mean, like get a dude to carry. I mean, at that point, just give him a carry and see what we got. But I didn't like the fact that they got away from the run game, especially when we started the second half. And early on in the second half, things didn't look like it was clicking. Right? They made some adjustments. They took Mark out of the game. They were doing everything to kind of make, take those type of things away from Lamar. So we should have tried to keep him honest anyway with the running game. And that's when you switch it up. We didn't. So, I'm curious to see how it would have went if we'd have ran a little bit more or have gone to it a little bit more. But all things considered, it disappeared in the second half.
B?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with what the guys have said so far. Justice Hill, he kind of reminds me of what Jose and I had talked about with Duvernay from his rookie year, where we're like not that skilled, but every time he gets the ball, you can tell he's trying to make something happen. He's trying to make plays, and you don't really see that with all the other guys. And that's what Justice Hill looks like. Unfortunately, he had the injury. JK, I don't want to judge JK too harshly. I mean, he's coming back off of a devastating injury, and I think he's making his way back. He's doing well, but obviously, it wasn't a huge game for him in terms of yardage or yards per carry or anything like that. But I think he's doing well, kind of working his way back into it. Outside of that, yeah, like I said, the run game kind of disappeared along with the rest of the offense. So it kind of is what it is.
That third quarter was horrible. Zay, on you, running backs.
Yeah, I mean, look, everybody pretty much covered it. I'll just add this. I think what we're seeing is we are better off. We are better off doing the run off the pass, right? I think what really helped get the run game going, one, you just have a better skilled running back out there in Dobbins, but more people are expecting pass now because Lamar started out so hot, and he can just light you up. So they're not stacking the box like they used to. And then when you get the ball to Dobbins, or Lamar takes off on a run, everybody's not there waiting for them to do it. But because they had the success in the first half, they kept doing it. And then the second half, they didn't switch up. That's why it just got stuffed. Like they knew exactly where we were going because G-Roll doesn't change anything up. He's too predictable. So yeah, and then they just abandoned it after that. So that's why we saw that drastic change in performance because we wanted to lean on the run because it started working. Stick with what was working, the pass game, and then run out off of that.
All right. First off, root to the bruh routine. Second off, kick the field goal, take the points. Hey, I agree with that 100%. 100%. But we're gonna get the coaching. My 2 cents on running backs. Like they said earlier, I really was impressed. I really am impressed with Justice. Justice is like he has a different energy about him, unlike a lot of other people on the team. Like I ain't gonna say they don't care because I know they all care or seem or should care. They're getting paid. But Justice plays like he still got that high school passion. Like I love this game. This is what I want to do with my life, my time. Want to play hard every snap. He played hard on the special team stuff. Every carry he get, he tries to maximize. And I love it for him. And even though after we joked on him the week before for him missing the big hole, he came back and had a decent game and what looked like was on his way to having another decent game. Anybody else want to cap running backs? Got another point to make?
Just Gus. Generally, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, you good. I was just saying, Gus might be back at practice. That's it.
Yeah.
But yeah, just generally with the offense, not even specifically the running backs. I mean, you also got to remember that Buffalo is a very good defense, a very well coached defense. They've given up 7 points in the second half through 4 games. So
it's crazy about Buffalo. They don't really change personnel. They had a 4 down lineman. They may rotate those down linemen. They have the 2 linebackers. They have Milano and Edmonds. Then they play the 5 DBs.
Edmonds was balling
against whatever you come out with.
So is Milano.
Well, you know what's weird? It's very weird what talent will do.
About that.
Baltimore should try that out sometime.
Sniper.
Let's go on to what's next on this?
Is it the wide receiver?
Wide receiver, tight end play. Wide receiver, tight end play. That's what's next. Wide receiver, tight end play. And B, I'll let you start with that.
I mean, I kind of, I feel bad for Rashad Bateman that he got hurt, obviously, and we'll see how long he's out, but hopefully he's back soon. But I mean, the way he was going, that might have been the best thing for him. Duvernay had 50 yards. Nobody else had more than 22. It's a dumpster fire in that wide receiver core. And this is what we had talked about, I think, a couple of weeks ago, where it's when everything is clicking and everything's going right, you're like, yeah, no, this is good. But when things get tough, is Duvernay your number 2 receiver? No.
I'd be number 1.
Is Bateman your number 1 receiver, really? Probably not. It's just not good enough. So we kind of saw that again today or yesterday.
Yeah. Hendo.
Listen, just horrible. And I know us over on this side, we've been saying all along, you need to do something and bring in a veteran, somebody with presence, somebody that can actually play, because if something happens to Bateman, we don't know how this offense is going to look. And we saw that actually happen in the second half. Once he got hurt and wasn't in the game, they doubled Mark Andrews, and they said, the rest of you beat us. Nobody could do it. And I think one of the most telling stats is Bateman had 3 catches for 17 yards. Pat Ricard had 3 catches for 17 yards. You can't do that. Hey, listen, I was in on all the Bateman juice. I still think that he's going to be a very good player, but through now, I think he's played 16 games. So he's pretty much played a full season. He has 758 yards and 3 touchdowns. And this is supposed to be our number 1 receiver. Now, the issue that I have with this is, as we've talked about before, if you take away Mark Andrews, how's this receiving core going to look? And we saw what happened yesterday with Mark Andrews. They took him out, and we couldn't do anything. Not to mention that Greg Roman doesn't know how to scheme anybody open. He's still running the same playbook from 2011, except for the plays he stole from Kansas City, and it's just not working.
Mike,
I'm gonna say something that's probably gonna make a lot of people mad. Duvernay is the number 1 wide receiver on this team by default. Bate ain't even. Not even by default. Bate is not that anymore. Listen, a drop here and there. We talked about this last week. Drop here and there, cool. 3 drops, 2 for first downs. We can't have that as our number 1 receiver, as our best wide receiver. I was completely disappointed in him. Sad to see him get hurt, but disappointed is not like I can't even put into words how upset I was watching him play and drop those passes. I know it was raining. But as you said earlier, Chris, it was raining for Buffalo too. So
and they were all dropping passes too.
Yep. Diggs had a touchdown and went right through his hands.
Yeah, they dropped passes, right? They did. But to me, what it looked like was when they needed to make a catch, they did. And when we needed somebody to make one, we didn't have it. And the guy that we could count on in those situations, they took him out of the game like any smart defensive coordinator would. So we always talk about this. We always talk about this. We need somebody else to step up, and this is the cards that we dealt. Bateman is supposed to be the man. He's got to help Mark Andrews. To me, Duvernay has been more consistent than him, so I'm going to call Duvernay this team's number 1 wide receiver right now. It's not the best thing, you know what I'm saying? I'm not happy about it. But I would call him the team number 1 receiver right now.
174 yards. Let's go.
Jose?
Yeah, look. I feel kind of bad for Bateman. Like, I haven't lost any faith in Bateman, but I also didn't set my expectations as high as everybody else. Like, I just didn't see him as that guy yet. I think he can become that guy, but you usher off Hollywood, and you're defiant in bringing in any other true number one or any other wide receiver with any kind, like real talent to contribute, and you're putting it all on Bateman. Yeah, we have all these unrealistic expectations for this guy, and for this wide receiving core. And when we have games like this, yeah, this is pretty much what I would expect from a second year wide receiver who's not Jalen Waddle, who's not Jamar Chase. He's not on that level. He might be like a step below them, and that's fine. But no, I don't expect him to make those plays just yet. It might take him a little bit longer to get there. But yeah, it's still disappointing, man. Like that one drop that he had, it looked like the same play that they ran against Miami, where he ran that slant and he had the move on the guy. He just didn't make the catch this time, and I couldn't help but wonder if he caught that ball, he could have taken it to the house again, right? Like he showed that speed, but this time he just didn't catch the ball. So his ability is about consistency. That's what separates those top tier wide receivers. They can constantly do that to you, right?
$1 million route, crappy catch.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what we talk about in the NFL. The difference between bad and average and good and great is just the consistency with which you can do things, because all those guys can make all those plays. I mean, I like to joke about James Prochet, but you put him out there and one out of those 100 targets, he'll make a catch like Devin Duvernay did in the end zone. Like they all have the physical ability to do it. It's just how consistently can you do it. And Baltimore does not value offensive consistency.
I'm not gonna lie though. I am kind of wondering, like, you're not gonna throw anything at Prochet. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you kept him on the team this whole time. I mean, he gets targets in practice. He gets targets in well, he ain't playing this preseason. But like, what's he doing out there? Like, he's dressing, and you're not gonna try him out. Like, you don't trust any of the other guys. Like, you don't trust Prochet either to even take the field.
And that was my thing. That was my thing. When Bateman was out, I figured, okay, they're going to substitute Prochet in.
That's what I thought.
Nope.
He was standing right next to him. I said, "Okay, Prochet, you take your jacket off.
Yeah, he got a couple snaps. I remember cracking jokes saying he had gotten the game when he did. But let me let Chris get his in before we debo the subject. Go ahead, Chris. Then we'll come back.
Yeah, but everybody pretty much hit it on the head. The whole group is just disappointing. And then I can't even say Duvernay is disappointing, because I mean, he's not really getting targets like that. If you're not getting targets, how can you make a play? How can you make a play? But when he is given the opportunity, he does make a play. He had a hell of a catch over the middle of the field, where I think it was Edmonds that almost got a hand on it.
Yeah, I think.
And that was a hell of a catch. And so you can only do so much when you're barely given the opportunity. But on the Bateman, like everybody said, I mean, that's disappointing. You're a first round wide receiver. You have pedigree, and it's not like a first round wide receiver like Rashad Perriman, because everybody knew Perriman shouldn't have been a first rounder. But Rashad Bateman is a first rounder, and when your team is counting on you and you're supposed to be that guy, and like he said when Hollywood was traded, he was like, he's ready for this role. So if you're ready, put up or shut up, And this is one of those games where the Bills did everything they could to take Andrews away, and you got to step up, and he didn't.
Chris, y'all listen to this, and I know some of y'all probably saw it. There were times in that game when we were in heavy sets, and we had one wide receiver out there. Whoever the wide receiver was on Kaiir Elam. We didn't throw at this man not one freaking time, and then PFF comes out and saying he was locked down.
Right. It's the same.
On TV looks up and say, "Oh, this is a rookie. Well, go ahead." And not only is he a rookie, another rookie beat him out for the starting job.
Exactly, a sixth rounder, I think.
Yes, he just didn't play because he was hurt, and we didn't go at this man not one time.
Oh, and they didn't even run at him either. And
right.
if you know Kaiir Elam, he does not want to get his hands dirty.
No Elams want to get their hands dirty.
but again, Coach, it's that thing, right? Look inward. Who was going at Elam? What wide receiver was gonna make that rookie corner look bad?
That's a good point, but still, it wasn't even.
But we're not drawing plays that way either.
Yeah.
Like that's the point. Like we're not even drawing plays to like target him in any kind of way. Like we're
no,
not taking
I
advantage.
understand, but I'm saying like who's going to take advantage of it? Is it Tyler Wallace?
I don't care who it is.
I know one wide receiver who would have blocked the hell out of him if he was still on the team.
Who's that?
Miles Boykin.
Miles Boykin.
Miles Boykin would have erased him.
As far as tight end play, they try to take Mark away, and he did what he could, but they pretty much said you not beating us, and nobody else stepped up. That's what I got for wide receiver and tight end play. Anybody else want to touch the play of wide receivers and tight ends?
I have one thing to say. Y'all not gonna agree with this, and I might be wrong, but my mind works in different ways. So I think, and the Ravens sometimes they do these things. I honestly think that Rashad Bateman's not hurt. Because if you look at his face on the sideline, he kept his helmet on. And he looked like he wanted to go back in. I think what the Ravens were trying to do was save face. They were trying to keep, his confidence up and just say he was hurt and keep him out the game. Because like I said, he stood there with his helmet on and he was like, look, I can go back and play. He had 3 drops in one game. He's dropped a pass in every game this season. So I think that they're trying to save him from himself, from not becoming another Mark Clayton or something like that. So I don't think he's hurt.
Hey, no Mark Clayton slander on here. Mark was kind enough to come and do the show for me. No Mark Clayton slander on here.
Mark Clayton didn't give me a jersey when I went to his house. It's going to be some slander.
It's personal for him.
Not for a jersey.
Listen, Coach, like I said, he was using jerseys to wipe off his table. He was stepping on him as bath mats. I'm looking around his house like, it's 20 jerseys around here, and you offered me a vitamin water?
Was it the purple vitamin water?
No, it wasn't even a 50-cent vitamin water. It was like yellow or something.
Oh, no, you should have got a jersey then.
That's what I'm saying. But no, Mark Clayton cool with me though. and what also happened to the wide receiver savior, Isaiah Likely? Because he was supposed to come in from the preseason and save us all. Did he have a catch?
I drank that Kool-Aid and
I thought you were going somewhere else with that. What happened to the wide receiver savior in Coach was it Williams and Martin, right?
Keith Williams.
Yeah.
Listen, you can be the best.
Nobody get saved.
You can be the best coaches in the world, but if a person doesn't have talent, it's only so much you can do.
Exactly.
True.
I think these guys, some of these guys can develop into some good, solid to good receivers, and even Isaiah Likely. It's just we're depending on them to be those guys right now. Mm-hmm. It's unfair to them, but that's the position that this team, this coaching staff, and this general manager put them in.
Mm-hmm.
So
it's crazy. We had 11 picks, and we're counting on 8, 9, or 10 of them to produce. And one of them still hurt.
Charlie Kohler season.
2 of them still hurt. I forgot about Kohler. I forgot about Kohler completely. All right, let's go with O-line. I'm gonna start with O-line, and we are what we are like the tackles. There are times where the inside run game didn't work for whatever reason, because with O-line play, if one person mess up, the whole line is really messed up because you got to be a unit. And but based off the talent that we got, they play okay. But we're not very good. We all know we're not very good up front. But I do want to shout out Falele for giving his all, been putting in a really messed up situation. And some publication put out that he didn't allow any pressures or any. That is bull.
100%.
Because he had tight ends over there. He had Ricard over there. He had backs chipping. Basically, left tackle was 2 guys. It was Falele and somebody else. So for them to put out that crap that he didn't allow pressures, no, because he's 2 people blocking one every time. But I do think he ran Von Miller to the other side when he kept grabbing him. I will say that. Yeah, but we just not very good up front. Chris, what you got on O-line?
O-line, I mean, I was pretty impressed with how they were operating in the run game. They looked a bit more cohesive. They were opening more lanes for the running backs. So, and in pass pro, for the most part, they've looked good in pass pro the whole season. So props to them. And this isn't a group that it has these all world guys. You got Ben Powers, you got Daniel Falele on the left side now. And we got to have a conversation about Morgan Moses.
Let's
have it.
Because I honestly believe Morgan Moses might be the third best right tackle on the team when everybody's healthy.
You might be right.
Give me the top two.
I'm going to say Makari's the best one.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say Falele's the second best one.
Okay.
Not even Juwan James.
Well, you got to actually play the game of football to be.
But it's like Juwan and Morgan fighting for that third.
Now listen. Look, I'm not going to name any names, but when we did our first show and I said Morgan Moses wasn't that guy, somebody gave me a dirty look. I ain't going to say who, but somebody looked at me like, you don't know what you're talking about. I'm okay.
Was that me?
No, sir.
I mean,
you always give me dirty looks, but don't pay no mind.
Let's see. I went first, Chris. Go ahead, Jose.
Yeah, like overall, they're solid. I mean, we know they're not. Look, it's hopefully gonna be different when Ryan Stanley comes back. It will be different when Ryan Stanley comes back. Even when he's not 100%. What's the timeout for?
Oh, is that a technical?
We don't talk about street clothes.
Oh, see, listen. The reason why I don't call Ronnie Stanley street clothes is because this team mismanaged his injury. Like they mismanaged a lot of injuries. That is on them. That's why I'm not gonna put on Ronnie Stanley. Like that's on them because they make poor decisions in their personnel. They rushed him back, and he got re-injured because of that. So I'm not gonna give him that yet. Now if he comes back,
street clothes is a joke. That's I started, so I gotta stay with my joke.
You see Tyus, you see Gus. They all taking their time. That says a lot about what players think of this training staff.
Listen,
bingo.
And even in the press conference today, the one thing I really don't like about Harbaugh, he was like, "Yo, I'm putting this on Tyus. He come back when he feel ready." Like you're not supposed to put your players out there like that.
He did the same thing. Yeah, he said the same thing last week.
This goes all the way back to Bashard Perryman. We were talking about Bashard Perryman, but like they're trying to rush him out there too. Like, oh yeah, he's day to day. Nah, man, like he's hurt, right? And you're trying to put the pressure on him. And didn't who was the tight end? He was the head of the players not the players union.
Ben Watson.
Ben Watson. Did he report?
He did.
The Ravens.
He did
one time.
he reported him a couple times actually.
Right. Like he's trying to put that pressure on them to come back and play through injuries. Not are you hurt? Like coaches ask, are you hurt? Are you injured? Right? No, they're injured. Right? And you still want them to go out there and play.
Bateman hurt.
Yeah, Bateman's hurt. He gonna have to play through that. But no, the O-line
you brought that out of me, Hendo. That's why I said that.
I know. I got that dirty look. I was like,
listen, I don't know what happened to my guy Tyler Linderbaum. Up until yesterday, I was like, Linderbaum is playing exactly like I expected him to play, man. It was just a bad day. How you have false starts when you had the ball in your hand?
You move over top of the ball, but you don't move the ball.
Dude was rolling the whole game. He just kept rolling.
I don't know. Look, bad day for him. And I think when your center is off, your whole O-line gonna be off, right? So I don't expect another game like that from him. He's been really good so far this year. Again, the pass protection was solid, which is why again we need to lean on the pass, right? And run when we can. Don't try to be a run team. This isn't that same O-line. We can't get that kind of push, not yet. So yesterday, nobody played great yesterday. Nobody's gonna get a high grade from me in this game.
Right, Mike.
So this is where I give a mention to Rodney's favorite player, Project Pat Ricard. I mentioned him last week, right? This is where he stepped up, and you said it earlier, Coach. Like the role he's played, especially in the last 2 weeks of helping out the big fella, like it can't go unnoticed. You have to, you have to recognize Project Pat in that role. That he, it might not be pretty, it might not be what you'd like to see on the film, but got to give him props on that. as a whole, to me, the offensive line, it was reversed from last week, right? I think last week, the first half, they started bad. The second half, they got it together. This week, first half was good. Second half, terrible. Where they saying Falele ain't give up a pressure, I seen Rizzo or whatever his name is come. He almost whiffed on him. So unless they're not counting that as a pressure, but it looked like it to me. But yeah, as everybody says, solid. Still some work there. But I do give props to the big fella, right? I think these this fire that he's under, right, or these bullets that he's going through right now is only going to help him in the long run. So I think that's good for us. Don't know what that means for this year. I think he's doing a solid job, but this only going to make the kid better. So I do like that, but we got some work to do there.
All right. Before we go on, when I mentioned Ricard earlier, Hendo gave me the look. And then when you mentioned it, Hendo gave you the look. So I just want you to elaborate on why you gave the look.
No, that's my man, Mike. Ricard to me is not a bad player. He has his value to us. $7 million worth of value, no. And for a guy that's helping another guy block, I can't give you credit for that. I can't give you credit for helping me double team somebody. They can pick anybody because you can pick anybody to help double team.
The coach is telling him to do that.
You can't pick anybody. So some people don't do their job well.
That is true, but $7 million for
unfortunately, the way this team is constructed, like he's necessary
as a role. Yeah,
mm-hmm. Yeah.
And you one thing about how he played yesterday too is he just didn't help the big fella, right? He was helping on both sides. Wherever Von Miller was at, he was helping on both sides.
Yep.
So those type of things, like I said, it goes unnoticed sometimes. But love him or hate him, you gotta point that out and give him a little bit of love.
All right, I give Ricard love. Once again, it's not the player, it's the actual position. Because if we did not have him on the team, we wouldn't have to scheme things up this way. Like once again, we are always up against the salary cap, but we never can name the people that we're paying. We're paying Pat Ricard, we're paying Boyle $7 million apiece. That's $14 million that could have brought in some wide receiver. I'm just saying.
Hendo, I think the way we are right now, Ricard is a necessity.
Right, but we shouldn't be this way. We shouldn't be this way, Coach.
If Ronnie was here, Ricard probably wouldn't be necessary.
What you always saying, Coach? If was a fifth?
You're right. We'd be towed up.
Even
purple Kool-Aid, an abundance of purple Kool-Aid if it was a fifth.
Even without Ronnie, like stop signing players directly to IR. Like, who thought Jawan James was going to come in here and do anything? Raise your hand if you thought Jawan James was going to come in and do anything.
Until we signed him, I had no clue who he was.
Yeah.
But here's the thing, Coach. The rest of us did, and we all knew that he didn't play the 3 years prior. Everybody knew that. So I'm sure that the coaching staff, the trainers, everybody in the Ravens front office knew he did not play.
So for those that don't know, we didn't sign him this offseason. We signed him way back when.
Yeah.
While he was hurt.
While he was hurt.
Directly to IR.
That's just for those that didn't know that. Now, who I'm missing on O-line? Chris, did I get you for O-line?
Yeah, you got me.
Jose, I get you?
Yep.
B, you went?
No, not yet. Honestly, I mean, just I agree for the most part with what you guys said, but it's just not good enough. You're talking about a team again who refuses to put talent on the team. At these skill positions, right? These so-called skill positions, wide receiver. I mean, running back, they've had some injuries there, so that's all right. But if you're going to say, hey, we want to lean on the run, then you have to build a wall. You have to build an O-line that can move the defense out of the way. And if you're going to say, hey, at times we're going to lean on Lamar, you have to be a wall protecting Lamar, especially if you're not going to give him anybody to throw to. If we got to sit in the pocket and wait for Tyler Wallace and Devin Duvernay to get open, he's got to have a lot of time, right? It's not going to happen instantly. So, for who they, like Chris said, for who they are, and kind of what your expectations are relative to who they are, yeah, they're doing okay, but it's not a very good O-line, and it needs to be much, much, much better.
All right. Greg for 5 in the super chat, he said Super Bowl year they fired Cam Cameron and sparked the offense. Can you see any changes similar to this year? I'm gonna keep it short, and then everybody else can go ahead. I would love to, even though he's doing better, but I would love to.
It wasn't. It wasn't about Cameron. Like we had Ray Lewis, Ed Reed, Terrell Suggs, Haloti Ngata. Do you see any of those guys on that side of the ball? No? Then the answer is no. I don't see it.
Nah, no changes. I don't see anything.
No, okay. No. I don't think it's gonna be changed, but I would like to. That's kind of where I was going with it. I would like to know, who were you telling, C. Blooms? You said you was telling them to bootleg and was printing them out all night. Who were you telling? Like, you got a direct line to Roman or what? That's, put it in the comment section. Who exactly were you telling? So I think that's, anybody else want to sum up offense? I think we hit everything on offense.
I mean, for me personally, the offensive line, they did well pass blocking, they did well run blocking, but we have to clean up the penalties. We had 9 penalties as a team. I think 5 of those penalties came from the offensive line. Linderbaum had 3. He had the 2 false starts and a hold. Alele had a hold, and Zeitler had a penalty. So we can't have that with this offensive line, and I think it's because of the talent that we have. And we finally went up against a full defense, even though they were hurt. We went up against an actual functioning defense, and it gave us a little bit of problems.
Right, right.
And to what B said, they got to actually invest into the interior. Like, enough with these 4th, 5th, 6th rounders in the interior that you want to develop. Like, this is Lamar Jackson. This isn't, Jimmy Clausen back there.
God damn, man.
Like, you got to invest.
Ryan Mallett.
That was a gut punch for B. He's a Panthers fan.
There's so many places you could have gone. You were straight to Jimmy Pickles.
You know what it is? It's that ugly ass uniform that always is burned into my head, that with the mustard pants and dark days.
I think Axel said it. 0 points in the second half is unacceptable.
Yeah,
that's
I agree.
To end it out on the offense, that's 100%. You can't have the top scoring offense or whatever we were going into this week and not scoring no points in the second half. Just can't happen.
I agree with you, Mike, but we put all our money into defense. So
yeah, I mean, but even putting all the money in the defense, the first 3 weeks, we look like we were the top rated offense, whatever they said.
Y'all didn't play a top rated defense in the first
Thank you.
Right. I mean, I'm sorry. Go ahead, man.
No, I agree with you. I'm just saying. I'm just going. They say. I'm just going by the numbers. You know what I'm saying? So either way, right? You cannot go a half without scoring. And that same top-rated defense, we put up 20 points on them in the first half. So it's just unacceptable. But I agree. I mean, this was obviously the toughest task we had. But can't go. That can't happen if we're going to win games.
Yeah. We could have.
He was right on this. Falale didn't have a hole. He had a down the field.
Oh yeah, he was a lead man downfield. Yeah.
But, go ahead, whoever. Go ahead.
But Mike, we could have had 3 points.
I'm sure we'll get into that.
Buffalo's played 4 games. They've given up 7 points in the second half, right?
Yeah.
And they've played offenses with much better skill position players than Baltimore has. It's like, I'm a Lakers fan, as y'all know. That's why I love hearing street clothes about Ronnie Stanley instead of AD. But when the Lakers roll out there and Anthony Davis isn't there and LeBron isn't there, we don't just say, man, you still gotta beat Milwaukee. You still gotta beat Boston. Like, beat them with who?
Right.
Austin Reeves he ain't bringing that win.
What's the boy TNT or whatever his name is?
Horton Tucker.
THT.
I mean, who was it? Big Reg asked the question about the biggest thief on the defense, man. Taylor Horton Tucker. You want to talk about a thief? My God.
Collecting the checks.
So I just saw an interesting point. Let me see if I can find it. I just saw it. I was scrolling down. Raven Runs, O-line, undisciplined, Atlanta O-line coach. We never mentioned that guy.
We don't never talk
but
about
again, you have to have talent.
We did mention him. We did mention him the first week.
Is it still Castillo?
No,
Just
No,
it's
the
Joe D. DeLisandro, something like that.
Something like that.
And I heard that he was a great offensive line coach.
You know, Mikey brought up a good point yesterday about the Harbaughs and them trading coaches back and forth, right? Because you know how it is in the NFL. It's all about nepotism. It's not about what you know, which is why I always say at least half of the league isn't qualified to do their job. Like you have coaches out there that they're not NFL level coaches. I think we got a few of those on this team because Harbaugh doesn't have a good network. He's just hiring people that he knows that his brother knows. They're not good enough, but they keep getting jobs, and that's what we're seeing right now.
What was the stat, Mike?
It was like six. It was like 5 or 6 coaches that they've shared in between Michigan and here. Now, the latest obviously was McDonald, right? Who was with the Ravens, went to Michigan, then came back. The new Michigan defensive coordinator was your coach here last year and is now the defensive coordinator in Michigan. But that's just one scenario. It's like it's a whole bunch, man. Yeah. So it was weird and odd to see. Like I said, I'm a Michigan fan, so you know I happened to be watching the game and it popped up and I was like, ugh.
Yuck.
That's what's going on. That's what's going on. So, you know, well, I'll save when we get on coaches, I'll save my point on that.
All right. So let's go to defense. Let me see what I got first. D-line play. Jose, start us off.
I'm trying to think who stood out.
92.
Travis Jones.
92.
Travis
Matt
Jones.
BK.
Matt BK.
Yeah. Matt BK had himself a solid game. That's about it. That's all I can think of. Matt BK's name was. I think this is the second week in a row we've heard from Matt BK. I think he had a pretty good game last week too.
He had a sack.
Yeah.
And a couple TFLs last week.
Yeah. So maybe he's starting to catch on a little bit, and he needs it. Like this is the year he has to show out. But other than that, man, our D-line ain't looking too great, man.
I'm gonna let Big Red say Hendo don't do it. So he saw something in your face.
You don't like how Mavic is playing Hendo?
No, because I said Travis Jones.
Oh, okay.
You know, remember when he comes off IR, that interior pass rush is going to pick up because he was that dude at Connecticut. Remember?
I heard he was a legend.
Preseason.
Heard he was a legend.
He hit that.
And just nobody could, because I don't watch college football all that much, right? Like I watch the guys, close to the draft.
Especially not Connecticut.
Yeah, definitely. But when I heard what kind of game record this dude was, what kind of twin of Aaron Donald they had picked up, I said,
wait. Now who said
why? I said
we're not mentioning names.
I said, why was he there in the third round?
It wasn't Garnett, was it? Oh, okay.
But I was just like, why was it? And I know players fall and teams miss and everything. But it seems like everybody knew about Travis Jones, right? So why was he there?
Because he probably is at Connecticut. How you say it?
Connect I kit. Connect cut.
Probably because of what you seen from him in Baltimore so far.
Oh, really? Because listen, I'm not gonna mention any names, but somebody went on a 20-minute rant about how we got 3 first-round picks because Travis Jones was the first-round pick selected in the 3rd round.
Was that me?
No, it wasn't you. I'll come out and say it for you. but listen. I know somebody said something about JPP. Listen, he may not have had the biggest impact on his game, but you have to give that man credit for not having training camp or whatever. He played more plays than I think he should have.
I got it pulled up. I was waiting on to talk about JPP. Give me 1 second to pull it up. We had 63 total snaps. JPP played. Jason Pierre-Paul played 55 of them.
Yeah.
86%, and just signed the week, like the head of the week.
And I will say he may not have gotten all the pressures, but he was around the ball and he was around ball carriers. So it's not the flashiest, but I will say he gave effort. So I tip my hat to JPP.
I can go out there and give effort for 55 plays. Like if it doesn't,
I can't.
God damn it, B! I'm trying to be positive.
I might give you 5 plays before I fall out.
I can be around the ball. Like I don't have to make the tackle. I'm just saying.
I can't be positive.
I'm joking. I don't think he was bad or anything. I'm just.
He just wasn't what everybody said he was going to be.
Go ahead, Chris.
Matabike, I thought he had a good game. I thought Calais had a good game too. He got his hand on a few passes. I thought he did well. Other than that, there was a lot to be desired, left to be desired. And, we knew this run defense was not good even when they had Michael Pearson. So I didn't think it was going to be better without him. And, they were able to run the ball. I mean, whether it was Singletary, whether it was Josh Allen, they were running over us and running through us. And we can't have that. Isn't that the identity of the Baltimore Ravens, to stop the run first?
Supposedly.
Used to be.
And they have not been doing it. So if you can't stop the run, you can't stop the pass, what can you do?
Lose.
Thanks.
B, did I get you on D-line?
No, not yet.
Go ahead, B.
Not good. Just bad. I mean, like Chris said, I did want to point out, a couple of guys they batted down some passes. That's cool. Preferably, you'd be closer to the quarterback to knock him down as opposed to the ball in flight. But I mean, that's fine, right?
Hey, I do have a observation.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Should you get credit if you're getting pancaked into a sack?
No, we're not going to.
Are we going to say that for a linebacker talk?
Yes.
Say it for linebacker.
We say it for linebacker.
Okay. My bad. My bad.
I say yes.
My bad. All right, so we'll say that because that's probably going to be the hot topic. Let's go DB, the secondary. Let's go to secondary. Go to secondary. But first,
skipping linebacker?
Oh yeah, I'm definitely skipping that.
He's making it last or next last.
I did last week too. As a Michigan fan, Ojabo is the truth, a real life dog.
Really?
At this point in my fanhood, I believe it when I see it.
Thank you. That is the theme of Lunch Break Hot Take, and people get mad when we say, let's just wait. Let's let them just play first before we crown them.
Potential don't live here no more. Don't live here anymore. And Hendo hit it on the head. Like, I was the positive, the glass half full guy. I started hanging out with this Hendo character. And I got who shiced him ass on it.
First of all, Coach, I saw you once with an empty glass, and you was like, it's 3/4 full. I was like, oh man. Oh wow.
I'll say this too to what Hendo said earlier. You didn't get 2 first-round picks either. Because David Ojabo was not he was not a first-round pick. He went right where he was going to go.
I don't know.
Hey, I just want to say
the Ravens were talking about taking him at 14.
They were.
Yes, they were.
No, they were talking about it. They weren't going to take him.
And you know why? And would you have been surprised?
I wouldn't have been, but I don't think they would.
Exactly. I would have been surprised if they took that kid.
Did we get any first-round picks?
No. Well, maybe Linderbaum, maybe.
Oh yeah, I forgot about him. Yes, we did. We got 1 out of 4.
All right, you and Kyle gonna have a celebrity boxing match here pretty soon.
He's too busy doing commercials. I just saw him on TV.
All right, DBs. So we saw a lot of Kyle Hamilton. Well, not a lot of Kyle Hamilton. A lot of Brandon Stevens, MP, Marlowe, Chuck, Marcus Williams, and the only other guy that really got PT was Kyle Hamilton. So he really was kind of in the same package most of the game. I don't think they played terrible. But I would have, when I go back and see the all 20, like from that view, I can have a better assessment. But just off the top of my head, they didn't play bad. We had a pick. Marcus is freaking playing lights out. Marcus Williams. And Stevens had some plays, got some plays made on him, but to hold Diggs to what we had held him, I think it was partly the elements, but it's still I can't knock those cats for doing that because Diggs could possibly be the best receiver in the league right now. And he's been killing people, and we held him to 60 some odd yards, and I was expecting to give up 100 and still be competitive, and he didn't even get close to 100. So my thing on the DBs are they played okay. I can't be mad at them. I mean, they're gonna give up plays. They're gonna give up plays because there's not a lot of pass rush getting home. So as a DB, you can only cover for so long. Be 2.5, 3, maybe 4 seconds at max. If you get 4 seconds of coverage, that's great. But we're not getting that because we're not getting no pressure. So they're okay in my book. I'm not gonna trash or bash them, the DBs. Mike, go ahead.
Now I agree with you. I think I said it the last couple of weeks. I think the lack of pass rush is hurting that group for what they get, and they're doing what they got to do, right? But it's only so long they're gonna be able to hold off for an entire game like that. You add, I honestly feel like you add a solid pass rush to that group. We leading the league in turnovers right now. I think it'll be more if we had a pass rush, right?
Mm-hmm.
To force, because you see what happens last week. We forced Mac Jones into a pass interception. We forced Josh Allen into a quick pass this past week, interception. It's just lacking there, and I think it's taken away from what this group is doing, especially those that's looking at the numbers and seeing that they the last ranked pass defense. People are looking at that and they're coming down on that secondary. But I agree with you, Coach. I think they played well. I think MP, for what he's lacking in physical ability, he's super smart.
Yep.
He's super smart. And we got to remember, man, he's coming off a major injury too. So there's some things that aren't there yet, and we don't know if he'll get it back this year. But
he definitely don't look fully healthy.
Yeah,
he's playing more mental than physical.
Yeah, and I heard somebody today say, he's not fast. He's never been the fastest guy. He was beating you here. And so you see flashes of that. Marlowe, he's showing up. He's making some plays, and I think that has to do because MP's on the other side. He's back. So overall, man, I like this group. We got to get him some help with that pass rush.
B?
Yeah, I mean, they're okay. There were a lot of drop passes for Buffalo throughout the game. The thing the reason I don't really want to praise too much, because I do agree with what Mike's saying. Hey, you can't, and you, Coach, you can't expect him to cover indefinitely, right? But the reason I don't want to be like, hey, yeah, get him a pass rush. We don't, or most people don't say that with Lamar, right? They don't say that with the offense. They don't say, hey, get him an O-line, get him a receiver, and then they'll make that play. They say, hey, Lamar got to do better, right? So you know what? Secondary got to do better, because on that last drive, how many incompletions did they force?
So
zero.
Well, I just want to say this. I didn't get to see the last drive, most of the last drive live, because that's when my TV went out. So in the process of me switching to NFL Europe, by the time I got to it, they were already on the other side of the 50-yard line. And I think that's when the phantom roughing the passer came in, then they ran a screen and got a first down.
Man.
So I really just saw those plays leading up to that, literally almost right before we clicked on live. But I guess they completed all of them because they did.
I mean, and granted, I'm not saying it wasn't, obviously, it wasn't like they gave up 300 yards on the drive or anything, right? But
I saw a nice pass to Dawson Knox that probably should have been caught toward the sideline. Is that
20-yard completion? Yeah. Mm-hmm. But my point is, hey, when you have to have a stop and you can't get a stop,
in 2 years we have
right. So I don't want to throw too much praise, but I mean, like I said, I'm not saying they played poorly all game either. So just okay.
But let's just say, and I think we can agree, they were the best unit on the defense this week. Is that fair?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it's a low bar,
far.
But they cleared it impressively.
Right. Chris?
I'm gonna give them praise because they made Tua look like Jesus on the field So for them to not have, bombs over Baghdad with Josh Allen coming into town, I was just relieved because I was expecting him to just be throwing it all over the place. And like B said, the weather obviously played a factor in this game. But with this defense, we never know what to expect. We don't know if they're gonna give up a 60-yard play. Like we never know. So the fact that it didn't happen, like that's how low the bar is now. I was like, woo, thank the Lord that didn't happen because but props to Brandon Stevens. I thought he played very well. That slot position, that's probably the most difficult position to play. And he was there battling. He got beat a couple times, but he was battling it, and he came in and he made a big play that the refs took away from him. But he made a big play and he did a proper technique that you're supposed to do, and still got penalized. Yep. So I think the arrow's pointing up on his team, and
that group
on the set, that group. Sorry, not this team. On that group, I think the arrow's pointing up. But like everybody else said, man, that damn pass rush. Like if you don't have a pass rush, then what's the point?
Yep. Zay, I think you the last one, right?
Yeah. I'm gonna give him. Henderson, no. Hannah has some words. He has some words. I'm gonna give him props too. You held Josh Allen to under 300 yards passing. I mean, I would have never guessed that. I don't care if it was a thunderstorm, or a typhoon coming down. I'd have said no way we're holding them to under 300 yards passing, but they did it. It feels like they didn't play as good as we think they did because, like B said, it was those clutch moments. It wasn't just the end of the game; it was the end of the first half too. They marched right down the field, and it's just like, well, we need you to make those plays that you were making earlier in the game. But forcing the turnovers, I think Marcus Williams is making a difference with that. Having Marlowe have 2 interceptions back-to-back weeks, I think it is making quarterbacks think twice. Plus Marcus Peters is out there. He's had a parlay. I think it is making them just hesitate just a little bit more on throwing the ball because of the turnovers. So the fact that we're able to make turnovers is what's really helping the defense out. But yeah, in clutch time when teams have to go down the field, we're not seeing this secondary hold up. But overall, I think they did a pretty good job yesterday playing the game.
All right, Hendo.
So I'm going to say this. I think overall secondary had a very good game. But I will say if Isaiah McKenzie did not get hurt, this might be a different conversation because they couldn't stop him. He was dropping balls essentially in the rain. If he hadn't dropped those balls, we might be having a different conversation. But I think they played well. I have to apologize to Marlowe. He's kicked his game up a notch. Like he was on a downslope ever since he signed that contract, but I think he's rededicated himself, got healthy, and he got his buddy back. And that confidence of having him on the other side, I think it raised him up a bit. And he's playing lights out right now. I can't take anything from him. But like Jose and B said, the ends of every half, that's when you need to clamp down. Now, granted, you're not going to stop everybody, and you're not going to stop Josh Allen. But for us paying $43 million for a secondary, I expect either one of those halves for you to make a play. But overall, I'm going to give them an A+, just off the strength of Marcus Peters about to slap the mess out of John Harbaugh.
You saw my tweet afterwards. I stand with MP.
I stand with him.
I stand with MP. Yolanda dropped 10. She says, my biggest takeaway from the stream is that as a collective unit, the Ravens have a lot of work to do to be successful, especially against the Bengals on Sunday. I appreciate the 10. And the thing
shout
is,
out to Yolanda.
The thing is, shout out to Yolanda. She's in everybody's stream, supporting in the comment section. You're throwing her points out there. So she's one of the biggest Ravens fans I know out here, and I appreciate the fact that she supports everybody. Everybody that's on this panel, she supports.
Indeed.
So I appreciate it. Appreciate you. But it can be done though. We got the people to be successful. It just needs to start happening now. It's just there's no more victories. There's no more if we coulda, woulda, shoulda. No more if was a fifth. The crap has to start happening now. Because if it don't, we gonna. And right now we're in the standings. We're good because a lot of teams are 2-2.
Yes.
A lot of teams are 2-2. So standing wise, we're good. But it's the way we're losing these games. I didn't predict us to be 4-0 to start the season. I predicted 3-1, 2-2, which is where we at. But it's the way we lost to Miami. It's the way we lost to Buffalo. That's why I'm bothered. Because it's we should be 4-0. But it's simple stuff. It's simple stuff. And I'm gonna say we should be 3-1 because, like B always point out, who knows if we kick the field goal, what happens. So I'm gonna say we should be 3-1 because of that. Just on the fact that I respect what B, because I thought about that all day and all night when we were talking about it yesterday. You got valid points there. But I think the only thing we got left is the LBs. Well, no, we got LBs and coaches. We'll go to LBs. I think Hendo was waiting on this, so
I'm not waiting on that. I think the fans are waiting on this.
Oh, okay. Well, we're gonna start with you anyway then.
Okay.
We want to say LBs, or we just want to talk about Oway and Queen?
Pretty, because that's
let's go Oway and Queen. Let's go Oway and Queen. We talk about Oway and Queen.
Inside and outside. That's it.
Right.
Yeah.
Let's not beat around the bush. Let's talk about Oway and Queen.
Okay.
Go ahead, Hendo.
So for Patrick Queen, I'm just gonna say this, and this will be the only time you'll ever hear me say this in life. I told you so. This dude is horrible. No, I'm talking to everybody. This dude is horrible.
There's a reason this mask is on.
This dude is horrible.
There's a reason the mask is on today.
Nah, Queen is horrible. He needs to slow down. He needs to, like I've said before, he needs to start diagnosing plays. He needs to get in the film room because he's overrunning everything. He thinks that his speed and athletic talent are going to get him where he needs to go. And Josh Allen's just sitting there like this. All right, bro, I'm gonna wait for you to go.
Let me put a parameter around Queen and Oway.
Okay.
Let's just talk about Queen and Oway for this game, not as a whole.
Okay.
That was this game, right?
That's what I was doing. That's what
Okay.
I was doing. And then once Queen has run past him, and Josh Allen's looking around like, this is pretty easy. You look for Oway, who's supposed to set the edge. He's on the inside somewhere. Like, listen,
he's beating the third blocker. Hendo, what do you want him to do?
Set the edge.
Man.
Use that 4-3.
Y'all just confusing that young man.
Let him score, tackle him, strip the ball. It's too much responsibility. But in all seriousness, I've said it before. We wasted 2 first-round picks on projects. Like you said, Coach, that you wanted projects. You wanted people with high upsides. I don't want high upsides. I want guys that can play. Mm-hmm. I want guys that can fill their role. The first round is not a round where you pick people that maybe shoulda, coulda, woulda. I need somebody that's going to get the job done. And like I said before, I'm only upset about this because these first-round picks could have went to getting Lamar some help on the offensive side. And I know somebody in the comments said we spent more money on offense than defense this year. And that's possibly true. But that's this year. As a collective.
That's misleading.
Right, as a collective of the talent, look at the disparity. Look at $43 million into a secondary. And I guarantee you this, and I know it's outside the realm of it. I guarantee you this. Next year going into the draft, we're going to draft a cornerback number 1. Guarantee it. But Oway and Queen, they're playing too fast. They don't understand what they're doing, and they're not feature guys. Queen, he lumped into a starting job at LSU because his predecessor got hurt. Oway, he had great people around. I'm not saying he's not going to turn out to be good. I'm not saying Queen's not going to turn out to be good, but it's just not happening in the time frame that we need them to. They're just not diagnosing plays. They're not doing what we needed to do. And like Jose said, we're putting too much pressure on these young guys to be these stars and lead a team. And apparently, just like our head coach, they're not those dudes.
Right. Dorian says, I don't know if y'all saw the angle, but Oway almost got the ball out.
Yes.
And I tweeted this earlier. This is not horseshoes.
Right.
Moral victories.
There were 2 options, supposedly from Harbaugh or the staff. Get it out or let him score. And almost don't count.
Yeah, but and that right there is, I mean, what is it? Either go to get in there and strip the ball or let him score. What was going to happen, right? Exactly what did happen. He went in to strip the ball. He almost got it out, and the running back went down.
Yep.
Because I almost dropped the ball. I'm going down.
He didn't even really tackle him. He just punched the ball.
Yeah, it's let them score or not. Yep. That's it. There's no other. This isn't like the end of a basketball game. We're like, oh, try for a quick steal and then foul him. No, you do one or the other.
I
Because
also
the running
want
back's
to
going
point
down
out.
as soon as you get your hands on them.
I also want to point out, if we were the defense that we want this team to be, like the defense of old, they're just not going to score, right? That'd have been. That's the difference, right? It's like, yeah, you're just not going to score. Like, go ahead and kick that field goal. We go up by 3 and game over because you're not getting in field goal range. You're damn sure not getting a touchdown.
Mm-hmm.
All right. But that's just not who we are. We talk like this team, this staff, this organization talks like that's the team we want to be. But when push came to shove, and that's why we were having this argument yesterday about field goal or touchdown, they showed you what they thought about the defense. Mm-hmm. They know we ain't that kind of defense. That's why they said, no, we got to get to 7 points.
Listen, with Jose saying that, it made me a little bit more upset because now that I think about it, literally on that last drive, and Bradley said they just went up the field because I think I went to go get something to drink, and they were down at the 20. They literally on that last drive had to guard Dawson Knox and Diggs. Everybody else was hurt. Mm-hmm. So you had 2 people you had to cover. Now, when it came to them covering Bateman and Andrews, shut us all the way down. With
Bateman shut himself down.
I mean, but you know what I'm saying. Like with having to guard 2 people, they shut this whole office down the second half. Mm-hmm. We had to guard 2 people for 1 drive, and our $43 million secondary couldn't get it done.
Mike.
I mean, look, Owe, he played solid, right? He had the sack, he had this fumble, the forced fumble. We gotta give him credit for that, right?
I ain't getting credit for the sack.
But well, yeah, I mean, you know,
gotta be. Listen.
You gotta be in the right place at the right time.
Thank you, Mike.
It counts in the stat sheet.
Man, that man was getting rock bottom, and Josh Allen tripped over.
But you had to be there to get tripped on.
Had that been Terrell Suggs, had that been Ray Lewis or Nada or anyway, y'all be in here talking about their situational awareness, how they fought through the block and got that hand out there and grabbed that ankle when they knew we needed it.
Stop.
I mean,
he right.
Stop.
I agree, but I think I think you guys said it yesterday, Jose, that always game will be remembered for tackling that man on the 3-yard line. that's just what it's going to be, right? We're going to remember that. This is new to me. I'm hearing this that he almost got the ball. Like, did the ball move?
It was out.
Yeah,
it was out.
It came out.
He was carrying it, and it like basically was on his thighs, and he just laid down.
Yeah, that's why he went down like that, because Owe punched it and it was out. And it was on his legs, and he went to the fetal position on it.
Oh, he didn't actually tackle him. He wrapped his. It was almost like that Kyle Hamilton play from last week. He wrapped around and punched it, and it came out. So the running back just fell down on it.
Now, he should have punched him in the face too.
Chris, just go ahead. Tell us how you're in the
field. Now imagine if that would have came out. Owe is the man. He the man this week. If that came out. So
you're right.
But it didn't.
It didn't. It didn't. But I think he played okay. I mean, Queen, look, man. Queen, I think that Queen does diagnose plays, Hendo, but I think he just doesn't know how to react. I think it's almost like he gets excited because he sees it. Oh, I know what's coming. I see it. And he goes 100 miles per hour and he outruns it.
Like a puppy.
Yeah.
I know we on defense, but I've been waiting on this.
It was likely, Likely is just likely out there like this.
It does seem we had a runner play and Likely turn around looking at Lamar.
Yeah, it's
that's
amazing.
Y'all savior.
That wall that he hit already. It's.
But
remember,
back to we'll come back to him if we need to go back.
Okay, coach, because you said he was gonna get like 45 yards a game.
I did.
Yeah.
Say that.
How many he get yesterday?
He got minus 45. So hey, I'll eat my crow when I'm wrong. I don't mind. But what's starting to look like it looks like I'm starting. Initially, I hated the OAP. And then I kind of came around to it, but it's starting to look like I was right, because I went back and watched a lot of Old Way college film, and he's starting to look exactly like he looked at Penn State.
Yeah.
But go ahead, Chris.
So on Old Way, I think this team is doing him a major disservice. Not because they want to, but because they have to. They got like 1.5 pass rushers on the team. So I was talking. No. The dude with the one hand is half.
Oh,
that's cold blooded, man. You gonna get us demonetized.
Hey! I didn't give him the fireworks.
You need to shake them ass.
Man, Chris just joking, man.
That's right.
Chris just joking.
Go ahead.
No, but like they got him doing everything. Like I was talking to Mike Crawford, who's my partner on the Deep Cover podcast, and in the first 4 drives, they had Owe spying, they had Owe playing a run, they had Owe rushing the passer, and they had Owe dropping into coverage on the first 4 possessions. That's a lot. Like for a second year player, like you asking him to do all of this, and he's pretty much taking all of those responsibilities, which is Tyus Bowser's role, if we're being honest. And when Mike McDonald was hired, we were like, we hope this dude lets these guys hunt. And he's not letting Owe just focus on that. And this dude is playing like 90% of the snaps too at that. Now, that's not to, be his excuse, because when you got Josh Allen in your hands, you got to bring his ass down.
Mm-hmm.
When Josh Allen,
at least a clean look. If you get a clean look at him, you got to bring him down.
And then on the 4th down play, like that pissed me off. Like,
yeah, well, that should have been a sack.
That should have had him.
Yep.
There's no excuse for that. I don't care what the coaches do. There's no excuse for that. But just overall, his whole game, like I think they're doing him a major disservice by asking him to do so much.
Mm-hmm. He played every snap but 2, Chris.
I agree with you, Chris. I said that last week. I said that, he's forced to play that Bowser role, and it's not for him, and it's showing. But I agree 100%.
B, have you did
No, yeah. I'll be pretty quick here. Patrick Queen's garbage. He got to go. But I'm going to disagree with Hendo. I think that Owe. I mean, not that he was a good pick, because they should have gone elsewhere with that pick, but I think he's going to be the player that they thought he was going to be eventually. He seems to have that kind of sense of the moment that I was talking about that you need on defense, where defense in the NFL today is about making the play when you need the play. And like I said, it almost doesn't count, but I mean, he knocked the ball loose, right? We had that against Kansas City last year as well. I mean, he steps up and he makes plays in big moments. But I think Chris is correct that they are not doing a great job developing him. So you're not seeing, it's not moving along at a steady pace like you would like to see, and him just kind of getting better every week. But I do want to also, like, before we kind of wrap all this up, just want all of you to think about how many times you all have said the words, they're putting him in a terrible position. How many times have you said that about a player on this team? And, it's, I don't know how many weeks we can do it before it's just every single week the coaches are the problem. The coaches and the GM are the problem in Baltimore. We can't say, hey, the O-lineman, they're putting him in a terrible position. Hey, the secondary, man, they're put in a bad position. Owe, they're putting him in a bad position. What are they doing? Do they have any idea what they're doing?
Yeah, I get exactly where you're going. The only person that's been put in a bad position that has an excuse is Falele.
Mm-hmm. Fact.
Jose, did I?
No, I mean, it's just pretty much what Bill was saying. Like we keep getting these guys. We're not just drafting rookies. We're drafting guys who they need to develop. Right? Owe didn't have much experience, needs to develop. Patrick Queen, not that much experience, needs to develop. And we're asking them to fill roles of guys who were that guy. right? We draft Patrick Queen to replace CJ Mosley. CJ Mosley was that guy.
Yep.
Right. So that's a huge drop off. Matt Judon was that guy. That's a huge drop off. Everything that we're asking Owe to do, Judon didn't drop back in coverage like that. A couple times he did, but he can set that edge, and he was getting sacks, and he was getting pressures, he was getting QB hits. He was everything that you could ask for. But we draft Owe expecting him to be better than Judon. But that's an unrealistic goal for a guy that is still developing, right? So yes, it is on the coaches, no doubt, because when you replace guys like that with these youngsters, we better be getting Micah Parsons, right? Yeah. I don't want to hear, oh, it's his second year. It's Micah Parsons' second year. He looks like the best edge rusher in the league. That's what he looks like. So if we're going to reach for guys like that, you got to get it right. We can't keep giving EDC credit for saying, oh yeah, he hit in the draft, and these guys take 3 to 4 years to develop. Because I think Patrick Queen, I don't think Patrick Queen is garbage. I think I can see Patrick Queen for his next team developing into a good linebacker.
That
right?
was shade, people.
We're not gonna re-sign him, right? I don't think he's gonna stay here.
He's
I don't think we're picking up his right. So there you go. I think for the next team, he turns out being a solid linebacker, and we're gonna be looking at like, damn, like we how can he play for that for us? Well, he wasn't ready to play when we drafted him in the first round, and our coaches and staff couldn't develop him. Mm-hmm. Right. So yes, it's definitely on the front office and this coaching staff. What's going on here?
All right. Everybody had their turn, right?
Yeah, we've been waiting on this. Let's go.
Okay, so check this out. Everybody for the most part, and I think B may be the only one that just didn't just like bang, bang, bang Queen. And watching the game, you think, Queen did horrible situations and horrible such. First thing, Queen did not tackle a shirt this week, so that's a positive. Shout out Queen, he didn't pull his shirt off.
Wow.
I think me and Chris talked about that, so that's good. Second thing is, as soon as I got the film, I went and watched the whole thing. My eyes did not leave from Pat Queen because I was having this huge argument in the group chat about it, and when I came back with my facts, them cats in there couldn't say nothing because the tape don't lie. So what I'm about to tell you, listen to me now. And for those that don't know, when I say this, there's going to be a video about it. And I'm going to do the entire 63 plays and show y'all what I'm about to say. There were 63 plays. Queen screwed up 3. And I'll tell you the 3. The first one, he in the first half, he got caught up in the wash on a run play and kind of like he used to do all the time early in his career. Got too close to the line, get washed down, they run the ball somewhere else. Second play messed up on. He missed the interception from the tip ball. That was in the first half also. The third play he messed up on. Now taking a proper rush angle on the Josh Allen touchdown.
Yep.
So then I knew the jokers were going to say, well, what about the shooting the gap and such. So I went to that play and watched it 6 times. Let me tell you what happened on that play. The savior of the D-line got hooked. We all know who that is. Owe. So now he's in Queen's Gap. Cut it out, B. He's in Queen. He's in Queen's Gap. So as Queen's pursuing, his IQ, I ain't gonna say his IQ kicked in, it might have been changed, but he takes Owe's gap. And because it's a toss, the guy that's leading gets a hand on Queen as he shoots the gap and almost makes the tackle. So he does get kind of bumped off a little bit. So now they lose a blocker because of Queen, which is good. Now your second linebacker needs to be there. Guess who the second linebacker was?
Harrison?
Oh, Uncle Bynes.
Did he play?
I thought he was hurt by that point. Did he get hurt?
No. Oh. He was in pursuit, but he just old as shit, and he couldn't catch up. but I'm saying this to say all this. If Owe doesn't get hooked by McKenzie, none of this happens. So out of 63 plays, Queen had 3 plays that you can say, oh, he sucked on.
But those
3 important plays.
Those are plays he has to make. Like if CJ Mosley's here he makes those plays.
So let me tell you this. All right, good point. Good point. So if he only messes up them other 60 plays and does good on 3, then what?
It depends on what the 3. Because Coach, the question isn't like necessarily how many plays he messed up on, right? How many plays did he make?
Well, he made enough.
Did he make enough? Because what I saw was again.
He got the best pressure on Allen by himself. He got 3.
Was it pressure or was it a sack?
Was it a sack?
We don't get sacks no way.
But hold on.
You remember that clip that people were putting on Twitter last year because it was that point where Ravens fans were feeling insecure and they wanted to think that Orlando Brown couldn't play, and it was Oweh, beating him instantly off the snap.
I put it on TikTok.
Right. And he didn't sack Pat Mahomes, and the pass got out and it was complete.
Right, but he had the pressure.
Yep.
But look, the measurement. We're not measuring Queen
over those 3 plays.
Yeah, I hear you saying.
Even on the Josh Allen touchdown, Hendo said it himself. Patrick Queen was blitzing. Oweh was the contain guy. He ran down in there with the play.
But he overran the play. But that should have been Queen's tackle, though, Coach.
You're right. I agree. I put that down.
But it's a very important play. It's not about how many
all
plays
of them important, Hendo.
Some of
them they are.
All of them important.
But the comparison, right? Like, okay, we could say he didn't play as bad as we think, but the comparison is CJ Mosley because that's who we replaced. That's who got replaced, right? Like we replaced CJ Mosley with Patrick Queen. He's supposed to be an upgrade from CJ Mosley, and we know CJ Mosley had a certain standard. Like we know CJ Mosley would have gotten that interception. We know CJ Mosley would have definitely made the tackles, right? Like that's the comparison. Like we can't sit there and say, oh well, he got most of the tackles. I mean, that's what LJ Fort was doing. We could have just kept LJ Fort on this team, and yeah, he'll get most of the tackles. Josh Bynum gets most of the tackles still.
Yeah, 3-4 yards on the field. But what I was going to say was, God, dog it.
I'm sorry.
It's good.
Coach has got to be right. Coach has got to be
right.
No,
I don't have to be right. On this one, when I went and did the research, this is what I'm going to say. And Jose was making a point for me too. We are so spoiled from good play at that position that we expect the lineage to keep going. Queen is not CJ Mosley.
But he's a first-round pick.
Let me finish. He doggone show not the dude before that. Dare I even say his name?
Toonies.
So, huh? Come on.
I took Toonies.
Inside joke. A lot of people not gonna get that one. But he ain't him either. I don't think we have to temper the expectations because we always should keep our standards high. But 3 out of 60 does not institute suck. It does not institute all the hate I saw this man get.
I'm sorry.
And I know you saying because of the situation.
No, Coach, but and me personally, like I said, I don't hate Queen. I don't think Queen is getting all the hate for those 3 plays. I think it's a collective of 3 years.
But that's why I said let's keep it in this game.
Right, but I'm just talking about all the hate.
He set you up, Hendo.
I know he did.
He set you up so that he'd be right.
I know, but you just spoke about the hate. No. Here's where you're wrong, Coach. You said all the hate that you're seeing, which is outside of the stream. Right? Am I correct? I mean, you're seeing it here, but you're seeing it outside the stream as well, right?
I see it more outside the stream than in here.
Exactly. So that kind of circumvents what you're talking about right now. All that hate comes from 3 years, not 3 plays.
But
I don't even think.
Go ahead. Hold on.
I just want to say this. The reason why we have high standards and high expectations is because that's what the team tells us, right? The team keeps telling us this is a philosophy. This is how we're going to play. They set that expectation and then they don't live up to it. And yes, like that's why we're putting on the coaches. They're putting these guys in bad positions because they are trying to fill shoes that they cannot fill. But the team keeps telling us they're going to fill them. And when we don't see it, we react the way we react.
Hendo.
Yes, sir.
Yesterday, we were in a stream or whatever. And I want you to kind of let Brock know how we went after Bobby Wade. I think that was you that mentioned it yesterday.
It wasn't.
But you know what I'm talking about?
I think so.
You talking about the fantasy football? That was me. The fantasy football.
Tell them how we went after
Wagner. This is how we always try, right? We call it, it's like a fantasy football, right? And let's say I want to trade with Coach. Hey, Coach, what you want for J.K. Dobbins? And J.K. and he tells me like, hey, I need this player from you, and I need next year's first round pick. And I hang up the phone. Okay, and I let Jez Draybeck know, hey man, I tried. Like, I was interested. I inquired, I tried, and I just couldn't get the deal done. I didn't actually try, right? I just inquired, but I wasn't willing to actually pay what it takes to get that player. Same thing with Bobby Wagner, right? Yes, hey, we offered him the most money, but you knew it was only what, 500,000 more than what the Rams offered, and the Rams were coming off a Super Bowl. You're gonna have to offer a little bit more to entice him, but they won't actually want to do it.
He's at home.
And he's at home.
So
right?
you expect him to take 500,000 less, and play in Baltimore and be on a separate coast from his hometown.
Right. We don't actually try. We inquire a lot about a lot of players, but we don't actually try to get them.
Which makes me, when he said that, it made me think about the Hopkins thing and also the Diggs thing. They probably were similar situations.
And Adam Thielen, I want to throw that out there too, because we were rumored during the season to acquire by Adam Thielen. Why didn't we get that done?
Mm-hmm. Now, I will say this before we move on to coaches, because I threw that stuff out there, and I don't want anybody to think I'm just spewing random shit. Again, I'm going to do film on this. Like, when we get off, I'm probably going to start it then. And if you want to join, fine. If you don't, fine. It'll be there when you get time for it. But I'm going to kind of zoom through them. I ain't going to break the plays down like I normally do. We're going to talk about Queen and Queen only. And yes, big play was a touchdown. Yes, I think, did we give up a touchdown right after the interception? After the missed interception? Or did we give up a big first down, something like that?
Yeah.
Yes, we did.
Yes, there'll be. But
your first round picks have to make plays. It's not good enough.
We don't have no first round pick that's making plays other than Lamar.
That's the point.
But yeah, Eric DeCosta's a bad GM. That's kind of the thing. It's not just because you don't draft somebody in the first round to not make negative plays.
True.
You get that on day 2 or 3. You get that in free agency for next to nothing.
Yep.
You draft guys in the first round to make positive plays for you.
Now, and another reason I said the 3 plays, and I kept bringing up 3 plays. Let's talk about 8 for a second. There were about 3 or 4 plays that he did or that he didn't make. Notably, the last play, correct?
Yes.
We're not saying, and I'm not saying he sucks, so don't come at me because I'm gonna come back with this mask on. Why is the narrative different
For Lamar?
Yeah.
How many plays does Lamar make for this team game by game?
He make a lot of plays, but I'm just saying there are 3 or 4 plays he did not make.
Now you're saying just put it in the box for this game. Why is he getting
not as a collective, just
well, I mean, I said he didn't play well.
Yeah, he deserved it.
I got a better one. I say, why doesn't Bateman get this smoke?
There you go.
Bateman gets a pass. Bateman is he's developing. He doesn't get this smoke. I actually, that interception in this game or the drop interception, I don't put that. I'm not as mad at Queen on that one as I was last week. The last week one, he made a play on that ball. You got to catch it. This one, that ball came out of nowhere to him. Now, he was more so blocking it than he was going up to catch it. Now, again, listen, if we're going to say he should catch that ball, I don't want to hear nothing about Bateman dropping nothing because that's his job. His job is to catch the ball. I'm throwing the ball to you on purpose. That's your job. That one with Queen, he wasn't expecting that ball. That ball
hit him in his hands.
But
that's cool.
Do you remember all of the apologists for Patrick Queen his first couple of years? This is a 3-year thing.
I was one of those guys.
He was absolute trash, and everybody's like, "Oh no, it's fine. He's not experienced." And then he come back second year, he was trash again, and it was like, "Oh well, he's developing now. He's got some experience. He's developing." Now with year 3.
In my defense, I did say this is the year he has to do it. So I'm not defending his overall play because it needs to be better. I'm specifically speaking into Sunday.
Right, but
I think Hendo was there when I was like, I'm off the Queen train, and I'm like, he got to show me. But I'm just speaking because I go on Twitter, and like I said, not necessarily in here, but go on Twitter, go on my group chat. It was Queen suck, Queen, Queen. Nobody mentioned Oway. Well, they mentioned Oway a little bit. Nobody mentioned
3 QB hits. Come on, man.
You
gotta give it up.
Like Mike said, nobody mentioned Bateman.
Bateman, he drop a pass. That's just what happens. Like, I don't. If you come, and I said it on the Discord, I don't want to hear nothing about that drop interception by Queen if we ain't saying nothing about Bateman dropping three passes, two for critical first down plays.
Mm-hmm. And I'll agree with you in year 3 if he's still doing it.
No, we can't do that because we.
No, but that's exactly what you did for Queen.
No,
that's exactly what people did.
That's not what I did. What I'm saying is,
I did
not you specifically, but I mean Ravens.
Well, yeah, that's what happened. But what I'm saying is, here we're talking about first round picks, right? That's what we keep saying. First round picks got to produce. So all of those guys are first round picks. So I expect the same thing from all of them. Now, I agree. As Coach just said, it's time for Queen to show up. And I think we said that at the beginning of at the round table when we first started it. Mm-hmm. It's time for them to show up. It's time for us to see something out of Matabike. It's time for us to see something out of these cats. I don't think he's trash, but I think he does have to be better. But we gotta share that smoke across the field if we gonna come down.
Did you hear what you just said though? Did you hear what you just said? You said it's time for Queen. It's time for Matabike. It's time for It's not the same time for Bateman. He hasn't been.
I think it is. This
unfortunately it is because they put that
in that situation.
And this is why I think it's that time for Bateman, right? And it's not the same. Unfortunately, it's not. And Coach, you as a coach, I'm sure you can attest to this. You don't coach every player the same, right? That Bateman, as Jose just said, he was forced into that role. Bateman, I'm ready for this role. I'm the number 1 receiver, so that heightens the expectations on you, regardless of if you want it or not. I think that's the same thing that happened to Queen, as y'all pointed out, right? That what we used to at that position, we are expecting that. We know, as you said, Mosley wouldn't have dropped that, and we know Ray wasn't going to drop that, right? So we expect to see that, and that's not what he is. We said this a while ago, that we just got to take Queen for what he is, right? Like he's not a pro, he's not a Hall of Fame linebacker. He's not going to be that. You know what I mean? So we just got to take him for what he is. I think it's time. If we're saying, we can't say first round picks got to step up and then say, well, it's not his time yet. That's just my point. If we're saying first round pick, because then we got to say the same about Hamilton, right? Mm-hmm. We can't say a couple weeks ago that him as a top 15 pick, we need him now, and then say, well, Bateman, it ain't his time yet. It's not his time yet either. Then it's not Hamilton. We gotta. I just feel like that. I agree with you, B, but I just feel like we gotta get that smoke. Got to go to all of these guys. If you ain't doing it, you ain't doing it. But it's just I think it comes down on him, and I think it's spread out because of who he's supposed to be replacing. And then it happens the same with Bateman, because Bateman is replacing somebody who, wasn't needed anymore. And he's doing the same thing that we got on him about doing, dropping the ball. So
I'm sorry. I thought you still
No, I'm good. But that's just my point about it. We gotta pass that smoke to everybody.
We all been kind of going back and forth, but I want to hear what Chris thinks about the whole situation.
About just like Queen, or just
Queen in comparison to the other, with my camera, first round picks.
Put the air quotes on them.
So with the first round picks, what I want to see from first round picks, I want to see those flashes. I want to see those flashes and building onto something. I think with Bateman, we haven't gotten the time yet to see him build consistently, because he was hurt for the first half of the year, and then he came through. He had his his little thing where he was getting all the third down passes and all of that stuff, but he didn't really get into a groove last season. Mm-hmm. This year, he's yet to get into a real groove when we think about it. So I think the verdict is still out on him. Patrick Queen, on the other hand, though, I feel like we have seen, a pretty long view of him on this team. It's not about opportunity because he's had several opportunities. He's played both linebacker positions, and yeah, he's not C.J. Mosley. Hell, he's not even Darryl Smith. But like you said, Coach, this is the third. This is the third year. This is put up or shut up. And we're 4 games in. This isn't the end all be all for the story of his season. So there's still time for him to progress and actually make in season progression, which is something that I think we saw last year, and then it kind of dipped off towards the end of the season. So I think there's still time, but like everybody's saying, it's put up or shut up because we know that year 3, that's that magical number for NFL players, where we kind of see the fork in the road, where this player's either going to go left or he's going to go right, and right being good, left being bad. So he's at that fork right now, and he's kind of veering, into the way where Ravens fans didn't want him to see him go. So hopefully he could get back on track and just be consistent. And you said, Coach, you broke the film down from this game. I haven't watched it yet. So you saying he did well in, those other 3 plays, but you a first round pick. You got to make those splash plays.
And there are some plays that happened behind him that he didn't have a say so in, or like some runs that went away from him that he didn't have a say so in. So it's 60 plays, but there's not like it's 60 plays straight at him. So it's not like he balled out the other 60 plays. Coach, you just got to count the plays because he in there.
Coach, you didn't say that at first. You made it seem like all 60 plays are about him.
But no.
He messed up 3 plays and then 60 plays went the other direction.
When you grade people, when you grade players, whether the ball is at them or not, if they do their job, they get a plus or whatever, however the system is. And that's how I do it. I grade him.
That's how Kyer Elam was the top rated corner.
Exactly. So I can't. I mean, so if he's on the left edge and they run the ball to the other side and he holds it, I can't give him a negative for that.
We're not asking you to, Coach. We just asked you to give us that asterisk before you said his 60 plays.
Well, that's the case. Everybody should have an asterisk except the quarterback in the center.
So Coach, you asked a question, why are we why are we so critical of Queen Alway, and Lamar missed some plays, we're not focusing on that. Well, one, I'll say this: national media only focuses on Lamar, right? So Dan Orlovsky was breaking down that miss play today, so he gets scrutinized on a level that none of these other players get scrutinized. Here locally, here locally, we scrutinize the defense because this is what's sold to us, right? This is what we hear in these spaces. This is what we hear from local media. This is what we hear from the coach and GM, is that when they zig, we zag. We're going to stay true to who we are. We run the ball and we play defense. And that's what we've seen from this team throughout not its whole existence, because in the beginning we used to actually play offense. Yeah. But the 2000s, the early 2000s, that's what we've seen. And that's what we expect. And they keep telling us through various outlets that, hey, we don't need to pay for this position because we draft so well, we're going to be able to replace that position, right? And look at our history. We do great drafting, and that guy's going to come in and be the next Matt Judon, right? That person is going to come in and be, the next Zadarius or Brandon Williams, whoever. Like they keep telling us that's what it's going to be. Don't worry about offense, right? The offense just has to be good enough, right? That's what they keep saying. We don't need a high-powered offense like Kansas City. Oh, what do these top scoring offenses do anyway? Like, how many of them are winning Super Bowls? How many times do you hear people tweet that out, right? Defense wins championships. Look what happened last year. Look what won the game. It was Aaron Donald. Disregard all the other offensive plays I made before that. Look what made the play. It was defense, right? So it's always focused on defense for this team, but we're not seeing those plays happen. So people are like, well, hold on. You told us that's what we're about, but I'm not seeing that side of the ball make it happen like that. So I think that's where the scrutiny comes from.
All right. That's a great way to wrap that part of it up. Unless anybody else has, and the original topic was linebacker was Queen and we went a roundabout way on a bunch of different things, which is the good part about it. That's why I love this group, because we, even though the opinions were different, it came out intellectually and not at a you know how we can get as people.
Listen, not too fast, Coach. Not too fast. I still got something to say.
Go ahead.
Turn to Twitter Spaces.
Go ahead.
I still got something. Listen,
Go ahead.
I need for Bateman to get that smoke. Only because even up until I think it was Saturday, people are still talking about Hollywood dropping 3 balls. And I'm not hearing anybody say anything about Bateman dropping 3 balls. It's, oh no, he's going to get better. He's going to develop. Hollywood's not even on his team anymore, and people still talking about him.
Sure
so is. I want that same smoke, because Bateman has a drop in every game this season. Hollywood had 3 drops against Detroit, 3 drops the rest of the season. Bateman has 6-7 drops in 4 games. Same smoke.
Same. I 100% agree with you.
If he's making the plays, going along with those drops, we won't be talking about the drops.
We won't be talking about it.
Well, and he was up until very recently, right?
Yeah.
All right.
Couple games.
Let's move on to the. I'm gonna say
the grumbling. Y'all out here calling Devin Duvernay the wide receiver 1 because he catches 1 pass a week. I don't want to hear this.
Hey,
Duvernay's catch percentage is 100.
Duvernay's catch percentage is 100. Yeah, what's Prochet's? It's way up there too, right? He ain't making the plays that make any difference on the team.
Prochet's
any difference on this team.
Prochet has not dropped the ball.
He just needs opportunity.
Prochet has not dropped the ball. Let's leave Prochet out of this. Stop putting civilians that don't deserve it. He ain't even been on the field, so why are we shooting at him?
Hey, Coach.
Oh, he been on the field.
Hey, Coach.
He been on the field. He ain't doing nothing.
I ain't seen it.
So what you saying is stop bringing Prochet into grown man conversations?
Yep. You thought I was gonna say no? Yep.
We still got a lot of ball left. What, man? They saving Prochet. I see what it is.
Yeah. If that foot hurt, he got to play. If Bateman hurt, he's got to play.
Yeah, he can't play if he injured.
Yeah,
if he hurt, he's gonna get out there.
Is he?
I'm saying if Bateman can't go this week or any weeks to come, we got to see Prochet. He got to be out there.
Why?
Who else we got? That would be.
You can't go back and give Malik Pope.
Riley Webb
season.
All right. We closing in on our time frame. So let's talk about the elephant in the room, and probably the person who deserves the most smoke. Has to be Hendo's favorite person, because he got 3 pictures of this gentleman behind him. I would not want that guy nowhere close to me right now. Like, don't lean, because he's still right there in the room with you. And normally we get to this part of the show and we talk about coaching, what coach is. We're talking about Harbaugh right now. And let's talk about the decision. And when in your answer, talk about whether you agree with it, why, and just the general issues that go along with it. And for logic reason, because in my opinion, in my short term knowing these guys, Mike don't really fly off the cuff. He's trying to keep it logical. He ain't need jerkish as me and probably Hendo. So I'm gonna let Mike start.
I mean, look, I'm not mad at the decision. I'm more mad at the play call, right? I think you, in a situation like that, I'm not mad with being aggressive. I mean, I think clearly though, I see. First, let me say this: I see both sides. I'm not arguing with people that say they should have took the points, and I'm not arguing with people that said they should have gone for it. I'm not mad at being aggressive there. I don't like the play call. You got to put your quarterback in a pass run situation right there. We didn't, and whatever happened, but. Jose said it earlier. I think this was, Harb's way of saying I don't trust my defense. And I don't know if he had a flashback from when Miami was in town. And, we drove down, we took the 3, and they went right down the field and scored and won the game. So I'm not mad. I'm not mad at it. I'm willing to, I'm willing to ride with it. If that's what we're gonna do, I'm that guy. I'm willing to ride with you. All right, coach, this is what we're gonna do. Let's go. The players don't seem to be upset with it. So at the end of the day, you gotta execute, and that's top to bottom. That's execute, putting in a good play for the players to execute. And I don't think that play call was good.
All right. Anybody can go.
Okay, look, I see Hendo raising his eyeballs and B raising eyeballs, saying I don't think the players were mad about it. I know we talking about Marcus Peters. I don't think Marcus Peters was mad at that play.
I don't think he was either.
I think it was what happened on the other end of the field. I'm not even sure if he was mad about that Owe play. I think it was after that play when they went for the QB sneak and got the first down, because it didn't look like everybody was on the same page on that play either. And that's when he got mad. That's when he went off. After that play happened, I think there was miscommunication there as to, hey, look, this is third down. We stop them. They kick a field goal. We still have time on the clock, right? But it looked like maybe they're still trying to let them score a touchdown, and they were just trying to QB sneak to get the first down, run out the clock, and that's what happened. I think that's where Peters got mad and was going at Harbaugh, rightfully so, because, you put this coaching staff together, man. You want to bring in your friends. And your friend over there looking confused, like, hey, I don't know what we're doing out there, right? But back to the field goal, I'm with Mikey. I agree. I see both sides of it. Yes, me personally, and B's the same way. We would have went for the touchdown. We would have gone for it. But look, like you said, we you guys keep talking. This is a defensive. We're gonna be a defensive team. We built it to be a defensive team. Stand by your word, kick the field goal, and trust your defense to hold them.
Next.
Me personally, I don't agree with it. I think they should have kicked the field goal. And the only reason I say that they should have kicked the field goal, in my opinion, is because I know the coach that you think that I'm knee-jerk reaction, but all of my thoughts are a collective of history. And what history tells me is John Harbaugh, his fourth down philosophies with his coaching staff, it doesn't work. You look at the fourth down in the Super Bowl, the fake field goal. You look at the three fourth down tries against Tennessee in the playoffs. He doesn't have an offensive coordinator that, from a statistical standpoint, if you want to put all the numbers together, they don't have a high percentage of making fourth downs in high pressure situations. Now, during the regular game, when we tied, we up, whatever, they'll make it. But when it comes to those pressures, Greg Roman is still the offensive coordinator. Mm-hmm. And aside from whether you think we should go for this or we should do that, he has not schemed up a play. And if we're going to recent revisionist history, look at last season and the plays that they called up on fourth down. I knew it was going to be something that it wasn't going to work. That whole second half, Buffalo had our number with the offensive line. Mm-hmm. Your play calling should have been a little bit different. So why not take the 3 points? We go from there. Once again, you paid this secondary $43 million. Put them in a position to earn their money. And that's why I think they should have went for the field goal. But I don't think that there's a right or wrong answer. I just think that there's a typical John Harbaugh excuse, motto, blueprint, whatever. I just think he follows the same script. And that's why we always end up in the same place every time.
Good answer. Good answer so far. Next.
I'll go. I'm gonna agree with Mike. Like, whether you say, kick the field goal, don't kick the field goal, like I see both sides of it. I'm not gonna say you're wrong, I'm not gonna say you're right. Like, I can see both sides of it. What I do disagree with, though, is the play call. Mm-hmm. You had two players that were open. You got to execute that. Yep. Two players that are wide open. You can scheme it up. Players got to execute that. Mm-hmm. And in this instant, the player was Lamar. You got to make that throw. He's made it before. He did it against the Jets. Now, it wasn't a touchdown, but he's made that throw before. Mm-hmm. So I feel like if you got two guys that are open, I feel like that's the right call.
And just to piggyback on what Chris says, when Mike Davis motioned out the backfield, when you motion to get information. And when he motioned, nobody went with him. Mm-hmm. Whether you trust Mike or not, you now have to make the right, like LeBron. People criticize LeBron when he makes the right basketball play, which sometimes include him don't include him shooting the ball. In that case, Mike Davis motioned out the backfield. They looked at him and didn't move. You got to give him a shot. He was uncovered. All he had to do is catch it and fall forward. Now, if he drop it or whatever, it's on him. But you made the right football play. But go ahead. I'm gonna try to save my list by today. Anybody next?
Yeah, I think you absolutely go for it in that situation. You go for the 7. You go for the essentially. I don't want to say go for the win because obviously they still have the 4 minutes at that point. But you put yourself in the position where you kind of have control over the ending of the game to an extent, right? We come on here every week, and every week, have we said that the defense as a whole played well once? I mean, one unit played well in one game, one unit plays well in another game. How many people on this stream, how many people in this chat trust that Ravens defense? And why? Right? So it's an offensive league, right? You have a guy who's playing better than anybody in the league through the first month of the season. I'm going to win or lose with Lamar and not win or lose with Patrick Queen and Kyle Hamilton and Marcus Peters and Owe. Hey, we're out here talking about no pass rush, and you saw it, right? Mm-hmm. Buffalo got that ball. You kick the field goal, Buffalo gets the ball. They still have 4 minutes. They walk down the field like your defense ain't even there. I mean, they would have scored 7, no question, if they wanted to on that drive. They knelt twice inside the 2-yard line, so that just to run out the clock, just so they didn't score too fast on that defense. So you kick the field goal, you just lose by 4 instead of losing by 3. I mean, it doesn't always work out, right? Like Lamar's not perfect; he's not going to make every single play.
True.
But I'm giving Lamar the chance every time.
True. Hendo, you haven't been yet, have you?
Yeah.
Everybody's been.
Yeah, everybody went.
I believe so.
So I'm not going to play this. I'm not, but kind of summarize what if you get a chance, go to YouTube and watch this video. I'm not going to play it because I don't want to get demonetized. But basically, what Shannon said in this was, take the points, and this is Shannon basically summed up my thoughts on it. Take the points because John Harbaugh basically pointed out in the post-game presser everything that could go right for the Bills. He didn't take into account anything that could go wrong. And some of the things that could have went wrong was we could have miraculously made a stop. It was wet. We could have got an interception. We could have got a fumble. Shit, we almost got a fumble that they want to praise now, the almost fumble. He in his analytical decision-making, all he thought about is what could go wrong. Never thought about what could go right for his defense. So what that tells me is, and this is why I think Peters was mad, but I don't think nobody really knows but the people that were down there. I think he was mad because he probably felt like, he didn't trust them. He didn't give them a chance by not kicking the field goal to see if they can get a stop. As a competitor, me personally, I want that opportunity. And if I fail, like I got to learn from it and get better. And I see your point, B, because me and B was kind of going back and forth on this yesterday. But as a competitor, I want that opportunity to be on the field to end the game on me. Like how we ended it with the defense versus the Titans when he spent the ball. I want to be on the field for that. I want that opportunity. And yeah, I understand what Harbaugh was saying. Like it turns into a 4-down game, and man, I don't want to hear all that BS, man. I don't want to hear that. If the conditions were perfect, if the conditions were perfect, mm-hmm. we might not even been in that game. Honestly, we want to keep it 100.
That's true. Yeah.
If it was not raining like that, we probably would not have even been in that game.
But Coach, let me ask you a question though. Why didn't they have a chance? Why didn't they have a chance to stop him?
What you talking about with the
Ravens defense? Yeah, the Buffalo got the ball in the 25, mm-hmm. right? 4 minutes to go. They had a chance to stop him. They didn't.
The play calling is different, B.
Is it?
Because right now, initially you playing for probably about the 30. And they were right around the 30-ish. They were right in field goal range. And then when they got that the PI, that was pretty much the game. The PI, then the screen pass, that was pretty much the game. And the fact that they're so stupid, they still almost scored. If Owe don't try to punch the ball out, they run the ball in.
No, and that's fine. I don't necessarily agree that they would have done too much differently, but I'm just saying you still had a chance to stop them from getting a field goal.
I'd rather,
right?
Like I said yesterday, I'd rather have that chance up 3 than tied.
No. I get that. That's neither here nor there. I'm just asking, did they not have that chance and fail at it?
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, they had that chance and they failed.
And they had a chance up 3, right?
I think
with half the time against Miami, and they failed at it.
I think the Miami game skewed John Harbaugh's opinion more than he would like to admit, because it was that same situation, took the 3 points, and they went right down the field to score 7. He won't admit to that, but that was in the back of his mind, and I think when it came down to it, he just didn't trust the defense.
Yeah. After they had just got a 3 and out.
Right. Yeah.
And if I'm not mistaken, they had just got 2. Well, I don't say 2 3 and out. It was a punt, and they came back and got a 3 and out.
Well, I mean, they didn't get that third one, did they? I'm just saying, when you're in any kind of, if you're in a close game, back and forth game, whatever it is, what do you want? You want to have the ball last, right? Like, that's the situation you want to be. You want your offense on the field to decide the game, not your defense, because this is a league where, I mean, you saw it with what's his name, Brandon Stevens, right? Mm-hmm. He blitzed in, he broke down, he hit Josh Allen, they got called for the penalty, right? Most people say that was a terrible call. They're going to call that because it's an offensive league. That's the quarterback. He's the face of the franchise, one of the faces of the league. They want that offense moving the ball. They want that offense scoring points. They don't want the defense to shut you down on a last drive. That's not fun.
All right.
Nobody wants to talk about that the next day. They want to talk about Josh Allen leading a game-winning drive,
which is what they're talking about.
Yeah.
Travis says the play call is trash. You don't go in the center with a rookie left tackle. You have 3 to 5 step drop back waiting for the play to develop. You have to go shotgun. I mean, you could say the play was bad, but you had 2 guys open.
Yeah, the play worked.
And he had time to throw. Open. He had time to throw the ball too.
Yeah, 2 guys open. Yeah. Once he took his initial drop, then he took drop back more. I was like, oh shit.
Yeah, I felt like, I mean, and I could be completely wrong here, but I felt like he kept drifting back because he was thinking to himself, hey, if I don't find somebody, I can run. And if you step up into the pocket, maybe necessarily you don't have those same opportunities, right? But I mean, he should have probably just stepped up and thrown the ball.
And he has a nasty habit of doing that too in the red zone, where he just drifts back. He did that in the Steelers game. He did that in the pick 6 for the Bills game too. He got to stop doing that because he's way better than that. And we've seen him in down in the red zone. 2019 he was clean in the red zone. 2019, and we know he's capable of it, but it just seems like in these high pressure situations, it's just putting too much on himself, and he just got to go out there and be Lamar.
Lastly, I with this, and we talked about. I think it was last week. We talked about OA pressing. Was that not last week, Mike? Talk about OA pressing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Can we say that about 8? Is 8 pressing?
And
this is no hate, everybody that's in the chat. Like, this is a legit question. Is he present?
I would say for the second half of yesterday's game, yes.
I mean, me personally, I would say no. I think he just had a bad game. I think he had a bad game and a bad play. I think last year he was pressing after the start, and then he just started forcing passes, into coverage, just throwing dumb passes for the last 3-4 games that he played. I think he was present. I don't think that's what it was this week. I think he was just kind of he had a down week,
and they're entitled to that. Everybody's him, they're entitled to it. The big thing is consistency with anybody. With anybody.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm with you, B. I don't see pressing. I do think he, naturally feels like he got to make a play, and in situations like that, it's in the back of all of their minds, right? That what happened in that Miami game. So to say it wasn't in the back of his mind and didn't think he might have been pressing on that play, and tried to extend the play as much as he could because he knew he had to make a play there, possibly. But I think it's something to watch out for going forward. If they continue to be in these situations where they up and these leads dwindle like that, he will start pressing. You know what I mean? And that's what you don't want. But I mean, one other point to that too is that, you know, you drive the ball 95 yards. You got the ball damn near 9 minutes. Before fourth down play, you got to get the ball in the end zone. Period. And we're not even talking about that pass. So they got to find a way to finish off those situations first and foremost. And we're not even talking about this. So 95 yards, 9-minute drive, close it out, finish it out.
Let me say this about that drive. There was, I don't know if it was the play before the fourth down play, but we were in the play that got blew up. Y'all remember that one? Though? We got like hit in the backfield.
Morgan Moses.
Was that Morgan Moses?
Not necessarily.
He got in there quick.
Not necessarily Morgan Moses. Morgan Moses had a part of it.
On the goal line?
If he followed the puller and don't try to bounce it, he has an opportunity to go forward. He tried to bounce it, and bouncing in the red zone is not going to work unless you really got it. You got to fall forward. So whatever the play was, we had a puller. He was in front of the pullers and got blowed up. If he's patient and gets behind that guy, he has the opportunity to hit it north and south. Not saying he scores, and I don't remember what running back was. It might have been Dobbins, maybe.
I think it was JK.
It might have been Dobbins. Not saying he scores, but he has a better opportunity to score than trying to bounce it because he ain't got that juice yet.
I'm gonna say, like, JK don't need to be bouncing anything.
Yeah, he ain't got that juice yet. He was good. He was good north and south. So it ain't just the fourth down play. It's plays before that should have been executed better. Also,
yeah. If you are who you say you are in Baltimore, Lamar shouldn't have had to throw a pass in that situation.
Right.
You know, you blow that D line off and you run it in.
Mm-hmm. So, and the last point I'll make, and y'all can agree with me or disagree. We got hosed.
You ain't lying.
We got hosed. And I saved it for last because it's a game and you really can't make the excuses, but there was some plays in there that were suspect. And like somebody put in one of the comments earlier, like it was bad calls on both sides, and I asked them where for the other side.
The blow to Isaiah McKenzie when he got hit in the head, that should have been a personal foul.
That's one. Okay, I get it.
So you can't say
the pass interference that was exactly the same as the play for Baltimore. It happened to Buffalo before and they didn't call it.
You talking about in the first quarter?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Somebody got hit early?
Yeah.
And I mean they showed the replay, slow-mo and everything, talking about what a great defensive play it was. I'm like, you can
it wasn't as bad though. It was
the dude's back.
It wasn't as bad. It wasn't as bad as the one that they didn't call on us.
Yeah, but it's not
who was it?
I want to say it was Brandon Stevens. I want to say it was Brandon Stevens that got
on McKenzie, probably.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, I'll check it out.
It wasn't as early, but again, it's not that's not the question, right? It's
not
it's early. Yeah, it's early or it's not.
Right.
So.
But I'm a big fan of you call it the same way the whole time.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of that in the NFL. I'm even a bigger fan of that in the NBA.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But what I have learned, and I don't know if y'all saw it or not, but the Donahue documentary on Netflix.
I start watching that.
Man,
still gotta watch it.
Man, a lot of our suspicions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He put it out there.
He told everything,
didn't it? A lot of our suspicions, he put it out there because I know me personally, like, well, they didn't call like this doing the, whatever, and he basically like referees are humans too.
Literally, he said when Allen Iverson was playing for Denver, what were they playing? Utah?
Something like that.
Something like that. He was literally like, "Yo, we gonna call Curry. We're gonna call currying every time he comes down
because of some conversation they had or some argument before the game.
Yeah.
Like, it was a joke.
Yeah.
It was a joke.
That's great.
But they called it.
That one, I mean, you can't do it, right? Obviously, but you're having that conversation. You're joking around with the crew or whatever. Okay, we're gonna call carrying tonight. That's one thing. But I remember vividly watching the Kings and Lakers and Kobe elbowing Mike Bibby in the nose, causing him
they didn't want to call the first foul.
They called a foul on Mike Bibby.
Yeah.
No, I'm saying one of those guys
elbowed in the nose.
They had a bet. We're not gonna call fouls. Whoever called the first foul had to buy dinner. They said it almost got bloody.
Yeah.
So it is what it is, man. I appreciate you guys, man. I knew we was gonna go 2 hours today because of the situation.
Yeah.
And I think it was good conversation. I think we can now start to dissect and move on to the task at hand because it's a big task at hand.
I'm scared.
I'm scared, Coach. Tyler.
Oh, I was scared. I was scared of the first like 6-7 games.
Listen, my only real concern for next week is Brandon Stevens versus Tyler Boyd. My only concern.
Mm-hmm. You should be scared of Jamar too.
Yeah, he hasn't really been doing much this year.
And T.
But T
been balling.
Well, since y'all talking about those guys, there's a video out there called New Mutants from this other channel called More Sip to Tell It.
Okay.
Check that out.
Okay.
It talks about the nuance, route running, and different things that those 3 guys from Cincinnati has. That's a great channel over there. More Sip to Tell It. Make sure
it sounds like it.
Let's check it out.
That's a great channel. That guy's amazing.
So positive.
He said Queen only had 3 bad plays.
that dude ain't mentioned Queen. That guy didn't mention Queen.
I'm not saying I was worried about it. I'm not that worried about it. Like, look, we know what those guys are, right? Mm-hmm. They're gonna make some plays, but we gotta make some plays too, right? This is a game. If we win, that can shut a lot of us up. Like, we're right back on track, right? Yep. That's a game. Like, this guy go out there and do it. So, like, this is going to show what we're made of. Mm-hmm. So, like, these type of games, I don't get worried about. This is going to tell me what to expect moving forward. So, right now, you know, we gave up 2 leads. Those are 2 games we should have had. That was on us more than it was about the other team. So, let's see against Cincinnati, can we go out there and be the team that we expect them to be?
Right, true. We'll say it.
Putting up a brave front. I know y'all are scared of that Hayden Hurst revenge game. I know.
Hey, who's gonna cover?
The guy that scares me the most is none of those guys we've mentioned.
Mixon
scares the crap out of me.
Yeah,
but he's only averaging like 2.5 yards a carry.
Not on Baltimore.
He had his game circled. He's like, oh yes,
get right game.
Y'all remember just the year before last? You saw the Bengals. That was a dub. You like, oh yeah, that's a win. Now it's like, ugh. You gotta think about this one.
But I do think 44 played balls out. He was utterly embarrassed by them last year.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah. I think 44 balls out. I'm not saying we're gonna win. I'm not saying he's gonna have this great game, but I think he's going to redeem himself.
I hope
physically.
So. Physically. I hope so.
But again, that's where we at. Bengals coming up Sunday night.
Sunday night.
So, check out whatever videos I put out. Again, if my wife let me, I'm gonna do that video, but she might not let me. So I might have to get that tomorrow. The Queen video, but it's definitely coming. And I'll let you kind of outro you first, Mike. I saw you got a signal and some things, so you kind of let everybody know where you at and what's going on, and don't forget to break your news again too.
Nah, I was just waving to my daughter that came in, but yeah, man, look. 1/4 of the almost retired off the record podcast, but we still got a channel. Go check that out, man. You want to see some of the old content. 1/3 of Ring Kings podcast, as you see, we rocking it. We got it wrong side. Yeah, Ring
there
Kings
we go.
podcast. Yeah, check that out. It's everything boxing, man. You need look. We got it for everybody, casual fan and then the hardcore fan. Come through. Check us out. And then on 101 of the soon to be dropping One Mic podcast is coming soon.
Open mic podcast.
I mean, I'm sorry.
Shout out to One Mic though. One Mic.
Shout out to One Mic. Check him out. But open mic podcast coming soon. B is making me drop that before at the top of the year, so it will be coming. It will be coming sooner than later. But yeah, man. Of course, good stream. We killing it every week, so let's keep this up.
It's getting better and better. Hendo?
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me once again. I appreciate you fellas and your outlooks on everything. Open my mind up. But you can find me every Sunday night at 7 p.m. doing a live stream, sometimes with the fellas, sometimes by myself. I do random videos throughout the week. Ravens Online Ungatekeepers on YouTube. You can find me at RGatekeepers on Instagram and Twitter. Might have some channels coming out later on. It all depends. I'm not sure, but pretty much it.
Chris?
You can catch me at the Deep Cover Pod on YouTube, Deep Cover Pod on Twitter, with myself, Michael Crawford, Kerry Stevenson. We come every week with a new episode on the pod, so check us out.
Yes, Brent Irvin is on the team. Ali, LBHT crew, Jose and B, do y'all thing.
All right, we are the Lunch Break Hot Take. We do a live show every Wednesday night at 7:15 p.m. Eastern Time. Also do an overtime show directly after that for our patrons. So check that out. You can follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok at LBHT Show. And like Mikey mentioned, our other channel we do with OTR Mike, Ring Kings Podcast. You can also follow us on social media at Ring Kings Pod. And Old Man Gamers. Old Man Gamers. Oh, I said it.
Yeah. I stood up today.
Did you? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Listen. Look. We're still working some things out there. We had a little video game channel that we were playing around with. There may be a new video here and there, but if Old Man Gamers is a channel if you're interested in that.
I tell you what we can do. Get us old cats on some Call of Duty and stream it.
That would be hilarious.
That would be hilarious.
I still need to go, Coach. Is that cool?
No, go ahead.
All right. Yeah, Old Man Games is not back. It's not coming back. do not subscribe. You will be disappointed.
Never left.
Nothing happening.
Go ahead, B.
Don't do it.
That's all I wanted to say.
That's it. Okay. Hey, so again, I think I needed this to make me feel better about the game. I was thoroughly upset about it. It was just disheartening. I can't really put my finger on it. And to come on here with you guys and talk about it and get it out, this was definitely therapy for me. I hope it's therapy for everybody in the comment section. But I appreciate you guys for coming through. At one point, we were at 2:45, which is probably one of the bigger streams for me. So I appreciate everybody that came through. I appreciate everybody that dropped the super chat. And Coach Shiesty, he gonna kind of fade out and be gone. So we're gonna get demonetized.
Hey, I want to shout out Marco G.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
because he donated like 3 or 4 times. So
he sure did.
He went the extra mile. So I want to give him a shout out.
And Josh came through too. I think I just missed Josh. I want to miss Josh. He said, I just listened about an hour ago to Coach's defensive queen. I'm glad I heard that because I about had it. Most people about had it, Josh. Most people about had it with Queen. It's just one of them things where, either you I ain't gonna say you love him or hate him, but you just expect a lot more out of him because of he's a first round pick, which is Hendo every time Hendo say that, it makes even more and more sense that I think it's Hendo. When you draft him in the first round, you want production now and not later.
Not projects. Production, not projects.
Right. So, Coach Shiesty out, man. Y'all stay in here.